Clarke in this morning for Grey Cues. There's plenty to come over the next few hours as usual, including the gardening slot with Paul McLaughlin coming up a bit later. So make sure to get any questions you have for Paul in ahead of that. You can call 074 91 25000 or text or WhatsApp at 086 60 25000. You can also email comments at highlandradio.com. And feel free to watch along as well, as the show is streamed live on our social media channels. We're going to begin though with a look at today's papers, and starting with the locals. The Tyrconnell Tribune: President can give power back to councils, according to Peter Casey, is the headline there. That is the vision that Peter Casey will bring to the office of the presidency as he continues to develop his strategy for election. He's now seeking nominations from 4 county councils in a bid to have his name on the ballot paper for the election that is likely to take place on October the 26th. He would like to think that councillors in Lifford will back his nomination. Mr Casey is putting forward innovative proposals, and he says the President can become involved with communities in a non-political way by attending meetings of county councils. He said the President's office can empower the people, and the country is in urgent need of that kind of motivation at the moment. Peter Casey, he is determined. I'm not entirely sure how the office of the President works, but he discusses attending council meetings and things like that. I don't know, is that how the office works, but I suppose his manifesto is that he wants to make a difference and give more power back to the people. And this is, I think, the second time that Peter Casey is running in the presidential election, and he did come second in 2018 to Michael D. Higgins. So I suppose he has the confidence that he will hopefully get a good share of the vote. So we'll see come October or whenever the election will be held. And he has ran in general and European elections as well in recent times, so he's well used to the campaign. So we'll see how that goes for him. The Donegal News now: Palestinian families' relocation to Letterkenny to go ahead next week. So 6 Palestinian families' relocation to Donegal is to go ahead as planned after concerns regarding access to adequate healthcare in Letterkenny delayed their move from Dublin on Monday. The critically ill children who arrived in Ireland through a government medical evacuation programme last year were due to have already been relocated to Donegal by the Irish Red Cross. However, the Irish Times reported the planned move was delayed following concerns raised by their mothers that they would not receive adequate health care in Letterkenny. And we did discuss this earlier in the week that, it was concerning that that's what they thought of the healthcare here in Donegal. However, though, a spokesperson for the Irish Red Cross has confirmed to the Donegal News that the relocation is to go ahead, but it has been delayed until next week. The move is going ahead, the Irish Red Cross say. We just give them a little bit more time to reassure them of any concerns they have. Their medical team has confirmed that it is absolutely safe for them to move, the spokesperson said. So that's good and restores a bit of faith that we don't know what the view of what their exact concerns were relating to that healthcare, but they're to be moved to Donegal now next week. The Irish Times now: US President Donald Trump has admitted Russian leader Vladimir Putin is unlikely to heed his appeal to stop targeting civilians and end the war in Ukraine at their meeting in Alaska tomorrow. After a video conference with European leaders yesterday, which Mr Trump said he would rate a 10, he renewed his threat of severe consequences unless Mr Putin agreed a ceasefire and an end to civilian deaths. In talks in Berlin yesterday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the US leader had agreed to a key demand from Kyiv for post-war security guarantees and a ceasefire as part of a deal to end the 3.5-year conflict. That article is accompanied by a very solemn-looking Volodymyr Zelensky picture there, and you'll remember that train crash interview with Volodymyr Zelensky and Donald Trump in the White House earlier this year. And I'm sure then when he sees the support and Donald Trump's efforts to get Putin to end the war, when Putin just seems, nothing appears to be deterring him at the minute. So I suppose he just doesn't see light at the end of the tunnel, or he gets that light at the end of the tunnel and it's quickly swept from under him again. The Irish Daily Mirror Simon Harris has agreed to meet the mother of the late Harvey Morrison Sherritt in the near future. It was confirmed yesterday. We'll be speaking a little bit more about this on the show shortly as well. This is understood to have been the first contact that Taoiseach has made with the family of 9-year-old Harvey, who suffered from scoliosis since his death was announced on July the 29th. Mr Harris has also sought a full multidisciplinary report on the timeline of care provided to Harvey. It comes as he is under further pressure to resign following the death of tragic Harvey, who was left waiting years for vital back surgery. And it's just so sad. I probably said this yesterday that the child at the centre of this, and just the delays that many people and many families are encountering out there as well. The Sun, the headline there is, "We don't want another family ripped apart over car crash." Ronan Keating has demanded stronger punishments for fatal road crash offences after the driver responsible for his brother's death escaped jail. The Boys Own Singer's sibling, Kieran Keating, aged 57, died in a horrific car crash in July 2023 near Swinford, County Mayo. The dad of 3 was on his way to his son's football match at the time of the collision. Now the Keating family say they've been left scarred by a broken system. Dean Hart pleaded guilty to careless driving and was handed a 17-month suspended sentence last February. Hart, 22, was also found guilty of careless driving causing serious injury to Kieran's wife Anne-Marie, who has been left with life-altering injuries. The Director of Public Prosecutions says that it will not appeal the sentence imposed on Hart, whose letter of apology was rejected by Kieran's relatives. So many families will feel the same, and you do hear time and time again that the sentences aren't tough enough, and I know so many factors have to be taken into consideration, but just to think that, the Keating family will carry this grief with them through the rest of their lives. And further on the article, Kieran Keating's son discusses how, his mum as well regularly attends hospital appointments, and, he's lost his dad and he's coping then with, I don't know if he cares for his mum, but, seeing what kind of pain she's in now, and to think that, ultimately they felt that Kieran's life was worth 17 months, and then to have that suspended, it just doesn't bear thinking about the effect that has on the family. The Irish Daily Mail now, the number of new electric cars licensed so far this year has jumped by 34% compared with the first 7 months of 2024. New figures from the Central Statistics Office show. Petrol and diesel motors now make up less than half of the new cars being purchased in Ireland. Up to the end of July, 17,075 new private electric cars were licensed in 2025, just over a third more than the 12,765 licensed in the same period in 2024. The CSO figures also showed a 64% rise in electric vehicles being registered in July 2025 compared to the same month last year. That's a huge jump. I know for a time that the number of electric vehicle car sales did slow, but that's a huge jump. And given, being good to see where exactly those cars are being sold, because in the likes of Donegal, we've talked about it time and time again that the infrastructure just isn't here for it. And even if you're coming from Dublin and you're travelling along the route and coming to Donegal, there's just not enough infrastructure in place along the route as well. The Irish Independent, we work 2.5 hours fewer a week than before the COVID pandemic hit. More people are at work than ever before, but productivity is dropping as employees are doing fewer hours than before COVID, according to the Department of Finance officials. So the average time worked fell by almost 2.5 hours a week, from around 33.5 hours a week pre-COVID to 31.2 hours. The drop has been greater among those with remote and hybrid working arrangements than those who are office or site-based. But other factors, including more comfortable incomes that allow people to place more value on their work-life balance, could also have resulted in the trend. I know it's not an awful lot. When you space that out, 2.5 hours a week isn't an awful lot at all. I would personally find it difficult to work from home continuously with no opportunity to go out and be able to meet people, but some people it really does suit. But are you one of those? Do you find that if you're working from home that your productivity has decreased? Do you think that, there's nobody constantly looking over your shoulder, that if a task doesn't be completed today and it's not time sensitive, then it's fine to tomorrow. The Irish Daily Star, Europe's record-breaking heatwave could hit 44 degrees as it fuels extreme wildfires raging in some regions popular with tourists. At least 3 people have died, with thousands displaced as blazes spread in temperatures soaring above 40 degrees. Fire crews have fought flames in parts of Greece, Portugal, Spain and Turkey. Spain's weather service said temperatures could peak at 44 degrees, while southern Portugal could also face that high. Red heat alerts in parts of Italy, France, Spain, Portugal and the Balkans warned of significant risks to health. Them wildfires, I just, I love the heat, and the weather here is absolutely beautiful, and you do have to be grateful sometimes that we live where we live. Whenever you see fires like that, I know then the dry spell does give rise to gorse fires, but the wildfires just seem so uncontrollable, and you see the videos on social media. It's so frightening for tourists in those areas. They might wake up in the morning or be wakened in the middle of the night and told that they need to evacuate the area, and some of them are doing so when the smoke's already filling the air and they can't see 2 feet in front of them, and it's such an unfamiliar area for them to try and navigate as well. The Irish Farmers Journal, gun clubs support farmers over illegal trespassing. Changes to the law around trespassing must be carefully considered, but action is needed to address trespassing and illegal hunting, the Vice Chair of the National Association of Regional Game Councils says. Dan Curley says that NARGC members have attended farmer meetings on the issue right around the country and actively support farmers and Gardaí in efforts to safeguard wildlife and livestock from illegal activity trespassing. I'm sure many farmers will welcome that. The changes envisaged will be specifically targeted at groups of individuals who bring hunting dogs onto farmland without permission and would not impact people such as hill walkers or gun club members who will only enter lands in a responsible manner and at an appropriate time. I didn't know that did happen. I thought that, it would be pre-arranged, but I suppose, the fear is that if livestock is attacked in that manner, so many farmers will no doubt be welcoming that. That's all that's in the papers for the time being. We're going to take a short break.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Cosgrove, Centra and Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Leisureland Redcastle, open every day all summer long. Perfect for family day trips. Offers excellent value for birthday party packages. For a memorable family experience this summer, visit Leisureland Redcastle. See leisurelandredcastle.ie for more details.
TFI Local Link Donegal Sligo Leitrim operates regular rural bus services in Buncrana, Donegal Town, Muff, Moville, Greencastle, Letterkenny, Carndona, Mallinhead, Ballybuffet and more. For more information visit www.locallinkdsl.ie. TFI Local Link is part of the Transport for Ireland network.
Discover amazing deals at Floyd's Restaurant, Ballymagori, Strabane. Enjoy a 2-course menu for £19.95 Monday to Friday, €1 for pound night Wednesday and steak night Thursday. Sunday carvery from 12:30 to 3:30. Party packages and function rooms available. Call 02871 382905 to book.
Who's watching your home while you're asleep, at work or on holiday? With the Sheridan Security Alarm System, you can be assured of round-the-clock monitoring. Our central monitoring station is on duty 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, monitoring homes and businesses in the northwest for intruder, fire, panic and medical signals, giving you the peace of mind you deserve. Sheridan Security Systems, Bonagee, Letterkenny, protecting what you value most. Call us for a free quotation on 9126 6025.
McCullough Jewellers in Letterkenny are synonymous with fine jewellery, quality watches and giftware. With stores at Main Street, Letterkenny and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre or online at ormccullough.com. You can choose from their quality product range in a relaxed atmosphere, and their sales staff will be happy to help you make the right choice whatever the occasion. McCullough Jewellers, making moments magical for generations. Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time is now 20 past 9. Now, the name Harvey Morrison Sherrod has been in the headlines. Unfortunately, the 9-year-old died at the end of July. He had scoliosis and waited years to receive spinal surgery. Harvey's death has led to calls for Taoiseach Simon Harris to resign, as of course he was Health Minister when he declared that no child should have to wait more than 4 months for a scoliosis operation. NT leader Peadar Tóibín joins me now. Good morning, Peadar.
Good morning, Michaela. How are you?
Good. So you are one of those obviously calling for Simon Harris to step aside over this.
Yeah, first of all, just my deepest sympathies to the family of Harvey. It's a disaster for any parent to lose a child. And in Harvey's particular situation, it's more heartbreaking because he suffered significantly in his short life. And he didn't receive the life-saving treatment that he needed in time. And I think it's just so heartbreaking to see a family go through so many years of fighting for treatment and then to lose their son in this manner. So, you pointed at the start of the introduction that the former Minister for Health, Simon Harris, promised not only should every child receive the necessary operations within 4 months, he said every child would receive the operations within 4 months. And he actually said that the waiting lists were indefensible. And he says we don't need more ministers who defend the indefensible. And that's exactly what the government is doing, because actually the waiting lists are not 4 months long. The waiting lists are well beyond that. There are hundreds of children on the waiting list currently, some of them for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and many of them for up to 9 months. And actually the situation is getting worse. And if you look at, in particular, Harvey's case, he waited 33 months for a scoliosis operation. Back in August 2022, he got a promise that he'd get the surgery. In March 23, he got a date. It was meant to happen in April 23, and then it was cancelled abruptly. And then he was actually taken off the waiting list, unbeknownst to the family. And nobody within CHI told the family that he was taken off the waiting list. And the curvature of his back had got to 130 degrees, and anything over 100 degrees curvature is actually a threat to life. And he suffered from outbreaks of pneumonia and other complications as a result of, the crushing of his lungs by the spine. So I think that we have a situation here where a minister of a government who has oceans of resources at their fingertips, who are putting €8 billion away on an annual basis, has either refused to or has been unable to provide a proper health service for young children. And if you look at CHI is obviously the Children's Health Ireland, who's in charge of this area. That organisation is in complete dysfunction. That same organisation has found out to allowed for unauthorised springs to be put into children with scoliosis. It has allowed for children to receive hip operations without reaching the necessary threshold. Children, i.e. that didn't need the operations, were receiving operations. Reports have shown that there's a toxic work culture within CHI, and also reports have shown that there has been a potential misuse of state funding. So this is not, the reason why children are not receiving these operations is not because it's impossible for it to happen. It's because the section of the HSE that's in charge of this is wallowing in dysfunction and has been allowed to do so by Minister Harris while he was Minister for Health, while he was Taoiseach, and while he is Taoiseach.
And do you think, Deputy Tóibín, that there was any effort made on Simon Harris's behalf at the time, or was he met with roadblocks? Is that what the issue is?
See, my issue here is that ministers are not passengers of their bus, the departmental bus that they're on. Ministers are the drivers of the departmental bus. And you're right to say that there can be blockages in these situations. But one of the big problems in Irish politics and in the Irish civil service is the simple lack of accountability. So, for example, the CEO who was in charge of Children's Health Ireland during all this period You would imagine that in an accountable situation, that CEO would have been fired from her job because of the fact that she didn't do her job properly. But that CEO is now in charge of actually transitioning the children's hospitals into the new National Children's Hospital. And one of the major problems is that nobody is ever held to account in this country. I had a senior member of the Department of Health, a person who had worked there for 40 years, in front of me in a finance committee there about a year and a half ago. And I asked that individual, with all the crises that have happened in the HSC and the Department of Health in the 40 years that he had worked in that location, had he ever seen a person ever lose their job in terms of gross mistakes that were made? And he said he didn't. So, in your business, in every private job across the country, if someone makes a mistake, there's a cost. And that cost keeps people in check. And people are more likely to do the job properly because they know that there'll be, there could be a demotion, they might get a pay rise, or they might even lose their job if they make a serious mistake. But the problem is there's a complete absence of that in the senior level of the civil service. And unless we actually crowbar accountability into the political system, my fear is that we're never going to see change at all in Ireland, and this is going to be repeated over and over again.
And there's so much hurt, not just within Harvey's family, but right across the country following his death. And, there's so many calls for Simon Harris to resign in relation to that. And it was very sad that, Harvey's mum, Gillian, said that she's now going to fight for other children, and that shouldn't have to be the case.
Yeah, so and I want to just pay tribute to Harvey's mother and her family, because first of all, they have been enormously brave at a time of desperate grief. They have been also enormously measured in their engagements, and we have taken our lead from them, and we haven't asked for anything that they haven't asked for. And yesterday, thankfully, they have received a phone call, I understand, from the Taoiseach that he will meet.
But isn't that a little too late?
Absolutely. Last September in the Dáil, I asked the Taoiseach would he meet with the family. I raised this issue last September, and the Taoiseach didn't find the time to meet with the family. And you're right, Gillian and the family are campaigning to make sure that this doesn't happen again to other children. And that's the key issue here. We need to make sure that we have a health service that does not fail children so radically over and over again. And that means there must be an overhaul of the system. We have written to the Cathaoirleach of the Health Committee and asked him to bring the Taoiseach before the committee so he can be grilled as to all the aspects that went wrong under his tenureship that led to the situation that we're in now. It doesn't have to be like this. It isn't the case that these are just continuous crises that happen in Irish society and nothing can be done about it. This can change, but one of the catalysts to that change, one of the most transformative elements that you can have, is the injection of accountability into the system. And that's why we think that the Taoiseach Simon Harris should do the honourable thing here, be accountable and show leadership and resign from his position as Taoiseach.
And what would you say to people that would maybe argue that Simon Harris in his position as Taoiseach now in relation to this could make a bigger impact now and see changes rather than if he wasn't where he is?
My confidence in Simon Harris is on the floor, I'll be honest with you, in terms of the categoric promises that he made in 2017, saying that no child would go beyond 4 months for an operation. My confidence is on the floor because of the absolute dysfunction of CHI in terms of all the things that we've discussed. My confidence in Simon Harris on the floor on the basis that he signed the contract for the National Children's Hospital, and that is obviously years overdue, billions of euros over cost, and then he actually denied it live on television that he signed the actual contract itself. This is a minister who has been at senior levels of government now for nearly 15 years in this country. And there is a trail of broken promises, there's a trail of dysfunction, and there's a trail of heartbreak in his wake. And I think in that scenario, it is impossible to have confidence over any new promise that Simon Harris makes.
And the sad reality is that there are so many children that suffer with scoliosis, like Harvey did, that, they're watching this unfold now and they're on the waiting list too, and they just can't see any light at the end of the tunnel.
Look, isn't it shocking that we have a situation where we have well over 200 children currently on the waiting list for scoliosis operations? And yet, at the same time, we've potentially hundreds of children who didn't need hip operations, who actually had hip operations in this country. Like, it is so incredible that it's even hard to make up this type of situation. That you have a list of children on one hand that are desperately waiting for operations, who are in pain, who are suffering ill health, who are going through disability as a result of the lack of operation. And on the other hand, the same organization is forcing operations on children who actually don't need them, operations that are damaging to those children. Like the level of dysfunction here is really hard to fathom and get your head around in this scenario. And I know for sure there are parents and children around the country who've seen what's happened and who will be in fear at the moment. This will rock the confidence of any family, who are desperately seeking an operation currently. And, I just think that we need to shake this government up. We just need to have a zero tolerance to this level of incompetence within government. The loss of a child is the worst thing that can happen to a family. This is, the most important thing that can, the worst thing that can happen to a citizen in this country. And if we're not going to have a threshold or responsibility or accountability for this, what are we going to have a threshold for? And, the key point is, if there's no accountability, there's no change. And we're cursed to wake up morning after morning, to see the same crises arise over and over again.
And do you think that 4-month target, that is reasonable? Do you think there are enough resources in place to reach that target?
I think that a situation where you have a government that is squirreling away 8 billion euros on budget surpluses, that target is absolutely achievable. And there's a number of things that are happening. There's obviously, there has been 9 reports and reviews written about CHI, believe it or not. And yet there is no consensus in how to implement the recommendations in those reports at the moment. But it's clear, first of all, that what needs to be done in CHI is there needs to be a radical reform of the organization to make sure that it's functioning properly. The toxic work culture cannot be allowed anymore. There needs to be very clear and direct control over the staff within the CHI and over management. And there needs to be accountability. Those who haven't done their job need to lose their job at this stage. And also then we need to make sure that we bring another reform that AIM 2 wants to bring into the health service, is that hospitals only get paid for the actual value that they bring to patients. And this is a radical reform that we're looking to bring about. A business listening to your show will only get paid for the value that they bring to their customer. So they focus all the resources in bringing values to their customers. But right now, hospitals can get paid if they bring no value to patients. So hospitals should get paid on the basis of the operations that they carry out, the engagements, the treatments, every time they bring and help improve the health of somebody, that's how they get paid. And if they do that, they will reorientate the resources towards the patient, and they will stop all of the money getting lost in middle management and administration within the HSE. That's a reform that needs to be brought about as soon as possible. And we need to have been pushing for that reform. And then we need to pay our doctors and nurses properly. We found out that 13,000 nurses left the country in the last 5 years. Some years, the majority of doctors are emigrating currently. The pay and conditions of people working in the health services on the floor. And, we're not going to get the staff that we need unless we provide internationally competitive paying conditions.
And if Simon Harris does step down on this occasion, that's an example too. You've highlighted so many different issues there. That is an example that the government's not going to get away with, a repeat of crises like this continually rising.
If Simon Harris steps down, if we introduce accountability into the political system in this country, it would be transformative. It would radically change the way the politics and the political apparatus works in this country. There's no doubt about that. It would be a new day. Literally, you would have a situation whereby the cost of not doing a person's job, the cost of making serious mistakes, the cost of wasting money would be so great that it would reduce those behaviors significantly. It would change those behaviors significantly. And people often ask me, say, well, listen, if you introduce serious accountability into the public system, into the civil service, which the whole situation would grind to a halt. Nobody would be able to make a decision at all because everybody would be worried about making a decision. But that's not the case, because everybody else lives with the same level of accountability in every other job in the country and manages to do that job, do it properly, and to do it without, having a paralysis of decision making as well. So this is not a new, accountability is not a new idea. It's an idea that everybody else in the country lives with, except those in senior politics and senior civil service.
Deputy Peadar Tóibín, Aontu Leader, thank you so much for joining me this morning, and no doubt that is a conversation that will continue. And as I said earlier, sadly, it's a very sad case that it has taken the death of Harvey Morrison Sherritt to once again call into question, well, I know it's called into question many times how the government operates, but it's just so sad to see a child again at the centre of this. We're going to take a quick ad break and we'll be back again.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Ireland, this is your broadband wake-up call. Over 275,000 people are waking up to Vodafone Fibre broadband, now for just €25 a month. So stop snoozing on award-winning broadband. Switching is easy at vodafone.ie.
Subject to eligibility, signing up to our €40 per month broadband package, €15 discount applied for first 6 months, an annual price increase of $3.50 each April. 24-month contract applies. For terms, see vodafone.ie.
You catch them in the corner of your eye, refusing to blend in. An electrifying presence you can't forget. The new Cooper Performance plug-in hybrid range is designed to move you further. With up to 130 kilometres of electric autonomy, you can set your course without compromise. Search Cupra plug-in hybrid today. All-electric range based on WLTP test data. Real-world driving results may vary.
Your local dealer is DMG Motors, Clough Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 9721 or visit dmgmotors.ie. Shop Homeland's August mega deals at your local Homeland or at homeland.ie. Dulux Weather Shield 10 litre buy 2 for €140. Fast Grow Seaweed Fertiliser buy 2 for €20. Pea Gravel Ton Bag now $69.99, save €10. All this and more until August 21st. Visit homeland.ie. Nationwide delivery available.
What would you do with €20,000 in cash? A holiday, a new car, or pay off those bills? Well, get ready for Highland Radio's mega summer draw and your chance to win big. We're giving away €2,500 cash every Friday from August 15th to September 5th. And on the 5th of September, one lucky winner will take home a whopping €10,000 live on the 9 till noon show. So that's 5 chances to win big. Tickets are just €15 or get 5 tickets for €50. Head to highlandradio.com and enter our mega summer cash draw now. Don't miss your chance to make this summer unforgettable. Only with Highland Radio.
Welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Some of your comments coming in relation to the previous discussion. Surely the question is more about how the health service, specifically Children's Health Ireland, handled Harvey's case, particularly regarding his placement on and removal from the waiting list. Deputy Peadar Tóibín did say that there needs to be a complete review of Children's Health Ireland, and that has previously been called for as well. It's the same old, we have no money or staff to do operations. We have to stop the brain drain in this country. We are training highly skilled people who are leaving here to other countries for better pay and conditions. And another listener says a key point of contention is the claim that Simon Harris failed to meet with Harvey's parents after their case was raised in the Dáil. The parents claim they were promised a meeting that never happened. This is seen by many as a failure of engagement and accountability, especially given the gravity of their son's situation. I'm joined now on this show by Bernard McGuinness, who is manager at Foyle Coaches in Redcastle. Good morning, Bernard.
Good morning, Michaela. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. So unfortunately, Bernard, this isn't the first time that you've been speaking out in relation to local link services having to be suspended for the day. What was the situation yesterday?
The situation yesterday, as we all know, it was a beautiful day. Again, at Shrove Beach, along a narrow road, cars were parked, or should I say abandoned, on both sides of the road, which meant that again our services couldn't get through and we had to suspend all services to Shrove. Now, I would like to say from the outset that we use Facebook. Foyle Coaches is contracted by Local Link to provide the service. We use Facebook to inform our passengers of any changes or delays that are going on, and it's a very effective method for us because most people seem to be on Facebook and get the message that there's a disruption to service. People comment then on these posts that we put up just as informative posts. People are commenting on them and blaming the guards and blaming the council and blaming everybody. To be perfectly honest, there's only one set of people to blame here, and that's the people who drive those cars that are abandoned around Shrove.
Yeah.
It's not the guards' fault, it's not the council's fault. The responsibility must lie with the individuals who abandon their cars and block the road.
And Bernard, how many passengers would have been affected by this yesterday?
It's very hard to say.
Yeah. But it's a busy enough route,
is it? On a good day like that, we collect. It is, yeah. Oh, it's a busy route. There's two routes, you see. There's a route going from Greencastle around Shrove to Letterkenny, and there's the other one going around Shrove to Derry. So it varies from day to day, and we are seeing over the last year or two a lot of people using the service actually coming down towards Shrove to go to the beach, which is great, you know. We did have one instance yesterday. I saw a comment on Facebook where we delivered a passenger to the beach early in the day, and then they couldn't get home, and they had small children, and they had to walk from Shrove to Greencastle.
My God.
You know, so that's
so people are being abandoned then because of the actions of others.
Yeah. Our service from Letterkenny, the one that leaves Letterkenny at 12:30 in the day, came down yesterday, and when you go down the upper road towards Shrove, you're going down the hill, and you have to go on around the last bend, let's say, to see what's there.
Okay.
And the driver went on around the bend and discovered he couldn't get through. Now, he had to reverse a coach then about, I'm going to say, 40 to 50 yards around the bend to get turned, and the cars were piling up behind him, and it was a very dangerous situation.
Yeah, imagine.
And only for his skill as a driver and his patience, you know, there could have been a handling. He got turned eventually, but that meant then that he couldn't finish the route. So we had to take the decision then to cancel all services around Shrove for the rest of the day until about 7 o'clock in the evening.
And I know you mentioned that it's not the fault of Gardaí or Donegal County Council there earlier, but do you think that they do have a role to play in this, particularly, you know, if they know it's going to be a busy day at the beach like yesterday?
Yeah. Well, I'm not a roads engineer. I don't know what the solution is. You know, you would think that maybe double yellow lines on both sides of the road, or its narrowest, would be an option. Then perhaps the guards would have the wherewithal to issue tickets or something. As it is now, there's no markings, so people believe they can park wherever they like. You know.
Yeah.
As I say, I'm not a roads engineer, Michaela. I don't know what the solution is, but it's a bad situation at the moment, especially, you know, on a sunny day.
Yeah. Councillor Martin McDermott, Cahirlock of the Inishowen Municipal District, joins me as well. Good morning, Councillor.
Good morning, Michaela.
So, Councillor McDermott, what do you believe is the solution, or is there a solution here?
Well, I suppose, as Bernard said, there's no easy solution. About a number of weeks ago, I had been contacted by Local Link, by Fiona O'Shea, the divisional manager for Local Link here in Donegal and Sligo, and I had a number of conversations with both the Gardaí and with the sergeants in Letterkenny, who has responsibilities for community policing and roads policing. I also had a number of conversations with the roads engineers and we do realise that something needs to be done there. I think Bernard's right. That there's a responsibility here, and the first responsibility is with the people that's driving those cars. They have a responsibility to park in places that are not causing an obstruction. But I do think that, as a council, we do need to have a look at what we can do out there to alleviate this problem, because we can't keep on going where there's a local bus route, bringing people to work, bringing people to different places that have to be there, hospital appointments and different things, and then kind of get around there. There's also the situation that emergency services, what happens if an emergency service needs to get round there, if someone takes a heart attack, and that is another situation that thankfully hasn't occurred yet, but could occur at any minute. So look, next week I intend to meet with the roads engineers to have a discussion about what we as a council could do. Bernard talked about double yellow lines. That is a possibility, that we could put double yellow lines there, and maybe start issuing tickets and stuff like that. But the problem, I suppose, there as well with tickets, and we all know the cross-border element to tickets doesn't always work either. So I think we have to put our heads together and get a resolution to this, because we can't keep on every day that the sun shines that the buses can't get round Shrove. I think that's unacceptable.
And this is an issue, we're talking about Shrove this time in the beach there, but we see so many times people parking in on slipways at piers where, they're blocking the RNLI from accessing services. But although yellow boxes are in place in those areas, there just seems to be still that cohort of people that ignore that. So what can be done in relation to that?
Well, look, I suppose there's a cohort of people that ignores everything that we go to do, and that's difficult to police. It's difficult for the Gardaí to be everywhere. It's difficult for the council to have bylaws in all areas that can cure that problem. At different beaches at different times, let it be Shrove, let it be Culdaff, let it be Kennigo, let it be wherever. We do have situations where there's a large volume of traffic, but I suppose like Culdaff and other areas, the roads are a lot wider and people can get parked and people can get access through. The issue at Shrove is that road is just about big enough just to take the bus through on its own, and cars would have to pull in even to let the bus pass. So that doesn't facilitate the buses and traffic being on that road. So we do have to look at what we can do as a council to see, can we help alleviate that problem.
And is there signage up in the area as well?
I don't think there's any signage there at the minute, but it is something that we are going to meet next week on to see, could double yellow line suit? Is there another possibility of extra parking at Shrove? There's maybe a number of things that we do have to look at to see what we can do. But as I was going to say, predominantly this comes down to the drivers. The drivers have to take a bit of responsibility here, and people are just abandoning cars wherever they want, and that's totally unacceptable.
And Bernard, is that comforting that this issue is being taken seriously, because yourselves are providing a service and you can't constantly be met with this issue?
Well, to be honest, we are being constantly met with this issue. This has been going on for summers as far back as I can remember.
Right.
It's just going on, and every time that it's discussed in Highland Radio or discussed on Facebook, somebody says, "Oh, we're looking at it." It hasn't been looked at. Well, if it has been looked at, it certainly hasn't manifested into any action on the ground. There's absolutely no signage in the area about parking, none at all. People are even parking on the small bridge above the car park one evening last week where there was a handling.
Yeah.
And, it just seems that there's no action coming from anybody, and that's, we need to get something done.
And could it get to a stage, Bernard, where you simply can't facilitate this service?
Well, I mean, it happened yesterday. It happened on
that
days
the route could be cut
of good weather. Well, we're not responsible for the actual decision of cutting routes. That's up to Local Link. We're just a contractor hired in. But yes, it could get to that stage where, we're using large wheelchair accessible vehicles and they need space to operate. And the road is good enough normally for our vehicles. There's no issue with that. But on a sunny day, when cars park on both sides of the road, we can't operate. The Local Link, I'm sure, will take a decision on that, whether the route gets cut or not. But, that's where we stand at the minute.
Councillor McDermott, how long do you think, if the WL lines were proposed, we unfortunately see so many issues raised with the council and it does take quite a time to get measures implemented? Would you be hopeful that something could be done quite quickly here?
Yeah, but I think, double yellow lines mightn't just cure the problem either right away, because double yellow lines there'll have to be someone there enforcing that, on a constant basis. And I suppose the situation we have with Gardaí at the minute, they can't be everywhere. They're stretched as it is. So I think we need to all get our heads together, both the Gardaí, the council, and Local Link, and see what solution that we can come up with. And particularly now in the short term, I suppose the next few months, as August and September goes out, there'll probably be less of amount of traffic there, but it is something that needs to be dealt with, and it needs to be made sure that, over the next year or two, that we can't, no point putting on a bus service, a new bus route, if the buses can't get round. So I think we all have to get our heads together on this and get it a resolution, because it's unfair to Bernard and all the bus drivers that they're coming to this situation far too regularly, and there has to be an outcome come out of this now.
And is there any room, I'm unfamiliar of the exact road myself, but is there any room to install bollards or anything there?
Well, there is room to do that, to put bollards around those corners. That is something that we did discuss a couple of weeks back with the engineer, both engineers, council engineers, but we're not sure that's going to be the right resolution either for it. But as I say, the senior engineer for the show was on holidays for a few weeks there. They're all back now. Something we're going to do is meet next week and have a look at how we can get a resolution to this.
Yeah. Councillor Mark McDermott.
You need to
go on ahead, Bernard.
Yeah. Sorry, Michaela. Yeah. I mean, there needs to be a site meeting. There needs to be people to go to the site, go to the area and look at it and decide, make a decision, what is the best solution. We hear we're not sure about the best solution and all that, but the decision must be made and something must be done. I'm not sure what that is. It's not my remit to say what that is, but something needs to be done urgently, as opposed to, we'll have a meeting next week and somebody was on holidays for a couple of weeks. This has gone on for years.
Yeah, well, to be fair to Bernard, this was brought by Local Link to my attention about 3 weeks ago, and we have had a number of conversations. I've had a number of conversations with the Gardaí and with the council. They are trying to get a resolution to this. It's not something that it's going to be that simple that we're just going to have a resolution tomorrow morning. There'll be, things will have to go through the council to get, if there has to go double yellow lines down, if there has to go bollards down, if there has to go extra parking, whatever we have to do. But I think we will meet on site, and I think we will bring Local Link as part of that. And if that's yourselves, Bernard, as well, there's no problem in that. You can be part of that meeting. We'll hopefully have that sorted out by next week. I'm actually off for a few days myself this week, so.
But yeah, I suppose obviously what Bernard's saying, that there does need to be a commitment, and it is a time sensitive matter.
Yeah, that's no problem.
It's definitely a time sensitive matter. Yeah, it's definitely a time sensitive matter. The summer's nearly over this year again, and this is, I think, the third or fourth disruption that we've had this year again. There was a lot of effort put in. There was a lot of effort put into There's a lot of effort put into getting these routes up and running, enhancing the routes from Northwest Busways time. When Local Link come in, the people are delighted with the service. It's a very comprehensive service, and it's been interrupted by
Well, hopefully we will get that meeting.
That was really badly needed, and something that a lot of us put a lot of work into to try and push to get any show in the service it deserves. And we have a fantastic bus service here in any show, and there's no question about that. But these problems do need to be resolved, and hopefully when we get everyone together on site, that we can get a resolution to this.
Councillor Mark McDermott, Cahirlock of the Nisho Municipal District, thank you for joining us this morning. And Bernard, I understand your frustration, and hopefully that meeting, as I was saying, sometimes in the council things do take so long, so hopefully that meeting will be done now in the near future. I hear you giggling at me there.
sorry for that.
But yeah, hopefully, Bernard.
It just seems to all these public decisions just seem to take an awful long amount of time,
And just, as Councillor McDermott was saying, it is such a great service, and, it's great to have so many people visiting the area and so many people that want to enjoy, the lovely beaches here in the county. And, speaking of that woman that you were saying was abandoned, it's just, that's not good enough.
It's not, you see, I mean, there's nobody wants to see the beaches full more than me. It's great to see people out and about, and it's great in the good weather, and the service is being used by the local people and by visitors going to the beach. It's great to see the numbers increasing in the service all the time. But it's just an issue like this kind of demeans the whole service, if you know what I mean,
Yeah. Bernard, thank you so much for joining us again this morning. That is Bernard McGuinness, manager at Foyle Coaches in Redcastle, and hopefully there is a resolution to that shortly, and we don't have to speak to Bernard in that capacity again. Councillor Martin Farn says he's been in touch with the council also, and that Gardaí are currently working with them to resolve the issue.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
It's time for the mid-season sale at Easy Living Furniture. Enjoy massive savings in store and online with hundreds of special offers across all of our departments, including sofas, dining, bedroom, mattress, home accessories and more. Looking to upgrade your home? Look no further. We have the furniture you want at prices you'll love. Shop now at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry, Londonderry.
Do you think about your legacy and what you want to leave behind? I've had a great life. My childhood was filled with love and support. But not every child is that fortunate. Many face poverty and adversity on a daily basis. So I'm leaving Bernardo's Ireland a gift in my will to pass on the chance of a brighter future to these children. Visit bernardos.ie/pass it on to get involved and make a difference.
It's Cabaret 25 at Harvey's Point. We start again on Wednesday, September the 3rd, and every Wednesday until November the 5th. An amazing lineup of stars, gourmet food, the warmest of welcomes, and all in the beautiful surrounds of Harvey's Point on Lough Esk, Donegal Town. Book today 074 972 2208 or harveyspoint.com. The Harvey's Point Cabaret, a night not to be missed.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Get back to school sorted with all the essentials from school jumpers to shoes. Visit our kidswear department in store or shop online at mcelhinney's.com today.
Today's weather, a mix of cloud and sunny spells with some scattered showers. Some of them will be heavy. Drier conditions will gradually extend this evening, and highest temperatures today of 19 to 24 degrees. Now, don't forget, our first draw of the Mega Summer Draw will be taking place tomorrow. Highland Radio's Mega Summer Draw, you can win €20,000 in cash, so you will be in with 5 chances to win big. Every Friday from tomorrow until the 5th of September, we will be giving away €2,005 each in cash. And that's not all. On Friday, the 5th of September, on the 9 till noon show, we will be drawing a ticket where one lucky person will win €10,000. So to buy a ticket, you can log on to highlandradio.com, click on the draw link, and you can get one ticket for €15 or 5 for €50. And you can also give us a call here on 074 91 25,000. Our phone lines are open for that draw. We are busy today, but keep trying and give us a call if you want to buy a ticket for that draw over the phone, and you can win €2,500 in cash tomorrow. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back after the news at 10.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Ready for a giant summer adventure at unmissable value? It's just a small step away in Northern Ireland. Blast off with family deals at the Armagh Planetarium. Early riser offers at the iconic Titanic Belfast. Dive into history at Ulster Folk Museum. Free for under 5s. Explore Carrickfergus Castle on the Causeway Coastal Route. Discover a legend at Seamus Heaney's home place, Balahi. and epic package deals at Lusty Beg Island Resort Fermanagh. Book now for great value summer offers at discovernorthernireland.com.
The acclaimed play Three Hail Marys on Grainon Letterkenny, Friday, September 5th and Saturday 6th. See on grainon.com. Selling fast.
Is your couch older than your Spotify playlist? Is your dining table wobblier than your uncle at a wedding? If so, it's time for an upgrade at Grove Furnishings, Kiltoy Road, Letterkenny, the largest furniture store in the Northwest. From stylish sofas to elegant beds, from floor covering to occasional pieces, we've got you covered. And we offer free delivery within 80 kilometres. Grove Furnishings. Seriously good furniture.
Imagine if you could test drive everything in life. Marriage, new jobs, even your in-laws. Well, at least with your next car you can. At iMotors, we've been helping Donegal families for over 50 years find quality used cars they can trust. All 100% checked and come with a warranty. Take one for a spin today. Visit us in Letterkenny, Malin Village or at imotors.ie.
iMotors, fearless generation.
At Northern Regional College, enrolment is open for courses starting this September. We have courses for all levels and interests, including engineering, science, hospitality and tourism, sport, health and social care, and much more. Apply online now and start your career journey at one of our local campuses at Coleraine, Matterfelt, Newton Abbey, or our new Ballymena campus. Visit nrc.ac.uk for more information. Go further, go higher with Northern Regional College.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning. It's a minute past 10. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. A new report has found a significant number of Gardaí working in the road policing unit have deliberately ignored offences. The review by Crowe Consultants is being described as shocking, stark and disturbing. It looked at the behaviour of 100 Gardaí involved in roads policing across 6 divisions. It found the majority were professional, dedicated and productive, but says a significant cohort were disinterested, had a poor work ethic and were ignoring offences on purpose. The report also outlines issues with training, equipment, fleet and structures. Donegal County Council is being urged to restrict the movement of heavy vehicles on Old Town Bridge in Letterkenny until a full safety review is completed and repairs are carried out. The call has come from Aontú Representative Mary T. Sweeney, who believes lives are potentially being put at risk because of serious structural cracks on the bridge. She says she walks that bridge regularly and is concerned by the high level of deterioration she's recently witnessed. Ms. Sweeney believes a comprehensive assessment of the bridge is now necessary.
So much work has been done in the Old Town, Leck and Ran areas in building and construction, and there's significant heavy construction traffic moving over that bridge, and the sheer volume of traffic of all subscriptions going over that bridge is beyond what it was ever designed to do. I've written to every individual councillor on a collective email to the engineers. I want a real thorough investigation of the structural integrity of the bridge as we have it today.
The IFA is claiming a recent report by the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission gives the wrong impression that farmers are the big winners of recent grocery inflation. It's hitting out at the CCPC, which claimed agriculture was one of the reasons for an increase in prices. The recent report rejected suggestions that supermarkets were behind the dramatic price rises and said agricultural outputs may be having an impact. Well, the chief economist with the IFA, Tyke Buckley, says farmers are struggling just as much as anyone else.
If we look at what the average income for a full-time farmer was in 2024, full-time farmer in Ireland made about €34,000. The average industrial wage was €47,500. And they're, like everybody else in Ireland, dealing with significant cost price inflation and the cost of doing business going up.
More than 100 organisations have signed a joint letter calling on Israel to stop what they call the weaponisation of aid. Humanitarian groups, including Oxfam and Médecins Sans Frontières, say they're being increasingly told they're not authorised to deliver supplies. Israel denies there are restrictions and says the rules ensure aid reaches the population directly and not Hamas. But Olga Cherevko from the United Nations says people are starving.
You see people who are visibly famished, visibly starving in the streets every day. But when you see these really severely malnourished cases and look how they are continuing to decline, it's really, really tragic.
Children at 55 preschool facilities in Donegal will be included in Bia Blasta, a preschool nutrition programme designed to provide daily lunches for preschool children in disadvantaged areas. Children's Minister Norma Foley says around €4.2 million in funding is being provided nationally to ensure that 25,000 children in areas with the highest concentration of disadvantage get a nutritious meal daily. Minister Foley says the programme will tackle child food poverty and reduce the risk of children going hungry or missing meals. Uisce Éireann says repairs to a burst water main may cause supply disruptions in Ramelton and surrounding areas today. Works are set to take place until 3:30 this afternoon. And nearly half of men have a good grasp of what AI can do, while 1 in 3 people believe the technology can understand Irishisms. Data from Vodafone reveals that Dubliners and Gen Z persons are the most confident with AI, and they believe it understands terms like grand or come here to me. However, some Irish accents, particularly Donegal, Kerry and Cork, are proving difficult for AI to comprehend. Commercial Operations Director at Vodafone Ireland, Kieran Barrett, says their AI partner Toby is being specially trained to recognise accents such as those in Donegal.
With Toby, we're always reviewing and trying to understand our customer context to understand it better. Irishisms are a real thing, and we are constantly trying to update Toby to make sure it gives the customers the very best understanding. It's learning from every interaction, it's adapting to how Irish people speak and what they need.
Weather forecast: a mix of cloud and sunny spells today, scattered showers with some heavy downpours possible. Drier conditions in the west will spread right across the region toward evening. Highest temperatures 19 to 24 degrees Celsius in light to moderate westerly or variable breezes. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11. Check all the day's news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning. The obituary notices for this Thursday morning, the 14th of August. The death has occurred of Siobhan McBrearty, Churchtown, Kilcar, reposing at her family home in Churchtown, Kilcar today and tomorrow from 12 noon until Rosary at 9 p.m. House strictly private, please, at all other times and on the morning of the funeral. A shuttle bus will be in operation from the Ashland car park during wake times. Funeral Mass will take place on Saturday morning at 11 in St Carthus Church, Kilcar, followed by burial in the local cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Carrick Daycare Centre, care of any family member or McShane Funeral Directors. The funeral mass can be viewed on mcn.live. The death has occurred of Sheila Cunningham, Riverdale Heights, Killybegs, reposing at her residence today from 12 noon until 9 p.m. Removal tomorrow morning at 10:30 to St Mary of the Visitation Church, Killybegs, for 11 o'clock funeral mass. Burial afterwards in the local cemetery. The mass will be streamed on mcn.live. House private, please, before the funeral tomorrow. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Alzheimer's Society, care of any family member or McBrearty Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of Oliver Lockhart, 87, Ard O'Donnell, Letterkenny. House private, please, to family, neighbours and friends. Funeral Mass in St Eunan's Cathedral tomorrow afternoon at 2, followed by burial in Umla Cemetery, Carrigart. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the neonatal unit at Letterkenny University Hospital. The death has taken place of John Anthony McLaughlin, Drina Mallon Head. John's remains are reposing at his home. Funeral from there on Saturday morning at 10:15 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Lag, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 12 noon and on the morning of the funeral. The funeral mass can be viewed on Eamon McLaughlin Funeral Director's Facebook page. A one-way system will be in operation. Anyone attending the wake is asked to enter at the bottom of the back mountain and exit either on the Tully Road or the Glen Road. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Patients Comfort Fund at Carndonagh Community Hospital, care of any family member or Eamon McLaughlin Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Oni Forker, Annagry and Birmingham. His remains will repose at Midlands Funeral Home Dunlow today from 2 o'clock with Rosary at 8. Private removal to the family home in Annagry to repose overnight. Funeral in St Mary's Star of the Sea Church, Annagry at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, followed by burial in the old graveyard. The death has occurred of Stephen Patterson, 17, Ashbrook, Letterkenny, formerly of Clonmass, Port Nabla. His remains will repose at his late residence in Ashbrook today from 12 noon. Funeral Mass in St Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny, tomorrow at 12 noon, with burial afterwards in Fanavolti Cemetery, Kindrum, Fanad. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Cree, care of any family member, or Eamon Scott, funeral director. The death has taken place of Sean Doherty, John Ned, Ballysalla, Kilkenny, Malin. Sean's remains are reposing at his home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 11:15 for Requiem Mass at 12 noon in St Patrick's Church, Ahatley, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed on Eamon McLaughlin, funeral director's Facebook page. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Friends of Inishowen Hospice or the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member, or Eamon McLaughlin, funeral director. The death has occurred of Kathleen Doherty, née Coyle, Conna, Kinnigo Ballymagan, Buncrana. Kathleen's remains are reposing at her home. Funeral from there at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, going to St Mary's Church, Cockhill, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The funeral can be viewed on churchservices.tv. And the death has occurred of Betty McElhinney, Cully, Donegal Town. Removal from her son Tommy's residence at Golard Lahi at 1:30 this afternoon, going to Rathini Presbyterian Church for funeral service at 2 o'clock, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Alzheimer's Society, Donegal branch, and Ballyshannon Community Hospital, care of any family member. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Nippy, fun and chic don't often describe insurance, but they perfectly fit the electric Fiat 500 you have the opportunity to win if you get a new car policy from On Post Insurance. For great cover at a great price and a shot at the Fiat 500, get a quote at onpostinsurance.ie. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply and are available at onpostinsurance.ie/promotions. Competition ends December 31st, 2025. One Direct Ireland Limited trading as On Post Insurance is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. One Direct Ireland Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of On Post.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
Welcome back to the second hour of the 9 till noon show. It's Michaela Clarke in this morning for Greg Hughes. Going to have a look at some of your comments coming in from our discussions earlier. As a bus driver, I have had to ask people on a regular basis to move, and the abuse I get is ridiculous. We need more Garda enforcement. Sometimes something as simple as a no parking sign will do the job. It's not rocket science. As Bernard was saying earlier, there's no signage up, but says that this is an issue that has been ongoing for a number of years now. So surely, signage could have been put up before now. There needs to be more parking in Inishowen. It's a nightmare for workers trying to get parked in towns as well. That man is not correct. The people who abandon their cars are, of course, at fault. These are ignorant, selfish people who simply don't care about anyone but themselves. But ultimately, Gardaí are to blame. Putting markings on the road won't help unless there is enforcement. These cars should be taken away to a compound with a hefty charge for reclaiming. It is illegal to obstruct a public road, and it is as simple as that. Yeah, I did mention it to Councillor Martin McDermott was on as well, that there are, say, on slipways and at piers and harbours, the yellow boxes, and there's signage up to trying to deter people from parking there. But he says, you can't police that, and Gardaí can't be there all the time. But there obviously does need to be something done about it. It is a serious issue, and you do see posts all the time about it. Hi, was in Achill Island. There was a steward checking and not allowing any parking that would block the road. Very sharp employed by Mayo County Council. But yeah, if we knew, it's not going to be every day that these areas are going to be busy, but definitely in the sunshine. We know that there's going to be a large volume of people travelling to beaches, and it's not every beach that there's issues at, so it wouldn't take that many people to maybe police the areas that are, as Bernard was highlighting there, that are subject to these motorists who are parking haphazardly. Why does the guards not be out the guards not issue fixed fines on these cars? Problem solved. Clamp them. Another says simple. Hi, why do business managers blindly assume everyone is on Facebook? It is not acceptable to use this platform as the only method of advertising and informing the public. We did kind of discuss this yesterday as well, but I suppose, otherwise, how are people going to know, given the situation with Bernard? It was a real time sensitive issue, and just all of a sudden they weren't able to facilitate that service in the Shreve area. So I suppose, they didn't really have an option because of the immediacy of it to cancel the services. This parking issue also happens in Maher Ward Beach, which makes it impossible for emergency vehicles to go through. That is the serious issue. If there was an emergency, if someone got into difficulty, unfortunately in the water, or if there was a fire somewhere, Bernard, the last time I think he was on with Greg, was saying that it is his fear if an emergency did arise, there's nobody could get through. Clamp the cars, take them away, and you should have to pay €200 to get them back. That's the only way that we can stop cars parking. Relating to my discussion with Pater Tobin earlier, and we were discussing young Harvey, and Deputy Tobin's calls for Simon Harris to resign over this. Typical Ireland, this listener says, it always takes a death, in this case the death of a child, for a public discourse and political debate surrounding Ireland's healthcare system, which is failing the country so badly. No excuses, another says, for Simon Harris, who was minister during the cervical smear scandal, the COVID debacle and the scoliosis situation. How can the government claim we are a rich country yet leave children to suffer in excruciating pain for years on end? Simon Harris must resign if he has any morals whatsoever, but Micheál Martin is into the neck of this also. After all, he is Taoiseach of this country. They should all be retired if they have any heart, which I don't think they have, claims that listener. I'm on the waiting list. I did phone up the waiting list because I am in a lot of pain in my back. The waiting list told me the waiting list department has no say with it. I presume that is in relation to someone needing spinal surgery there. Put more resources in place. Our country is run by incompetent people who couldn't run a bath. Harris should be long gone. He was also in charge of the cervical cancer scandal. He is not fit to be in charge. Another listener says the scoliosis news doesn't only rock the parents waiting on surgery for their kids. I can only imagine how they are feeling, but it also rocks the confidence of any parent with a child with scoliosis, whether awaiting surgery or getting treatment to hopefully prevent surgery. God love that poor family. My heart goes out to them as a mother and as a mother of a child with scoliosis. Lastly, for now, Simon Harris is a little late on requesting a full multidisciplinary report on the timeline of care provided to Harvey. Surely if he had seen to the operation happening, we might not be here today. That's all your comments. If you have any other comments in relation to those topics or anything else that's coming up, make sure to give us a call on 074 91 25,000. You can text or WhatsApp 086 60 25,000, and you can also email comments@highlandradio.com.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday, the 14th of August, Jackpot Day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €8,600 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S4. It's game number 33. The jackpot number is 29. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers: 24, 65, 45, 37, 36, 38, 57, 66, 56, and finally 48. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com. Thinking of changing your floors? Why not see what Florid Letterkenny has to offer? Florid have a large selection of solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring, together with a fantastic choice of parquet, herringbone flooring, all at incredible value. Don't delay. Call Florid today on 087 161 7008.
New this week in Home Store and More. All home office desks and chairs are all half price. But better hurry, because when all our half price home office desks and chairs are gone, they're gone. Also, all toilet seats are still all 33% off, and all pet beds, toys and accessories are still all half price. But when all the 33% off toilet seats and all the half price pet beds, toys and accessories are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
€75 per cow suckler scheme now open. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, find out what new actions you must take to draw down full payment. Fresh slurry and fertiliser restrictions proposed. Brothers at loggerheads over the family farm. Don't miss our farm succession series with legal, financial and practical advice. We talk to farmers about share farming and leasing. New €4,000 grant for farm partnerships. Plus bumper coverage of Tullamore Show. All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Well, it's a big weekend here in Letterkenny as Summer Sessions 2025 is set to kick off. I'm joined now in studio by Shane Barr, who is the organiser of the festival. Good morning, Shane.
How are you, Michaela?
Good, so it's a busy week.
Yeah, there's a lot happening down there, Michaela. It started there 10 days ago and a lot going on. So yeah, leading up to tomorrow evening's start.
Yeah, and I'd say there's so much goes into this. You know, there's so much in relation to preparing the site and then I suppose the acts. How long does that take from when you start?
The event management team started there on Tuesday week, so that's the 5th maybe or the 4th, just after the bank holiday. So it's pretty much a 13-14 day build.
Yeah.
It's a large site and a hell of a lot to put together for an event of that scale and the level of delivery and what's involved in it for the punters to get a good experience.
Yeah, and just even driving past it there, it looks even bigger than last year.
Yeah. It's a slightly bigger tent, same capacity but bigger production, bigger stage, bigger sound, bigger lights, obviously bigger acts, so all that comes with that and the requirements that come with that. More flags, VIP bar going in this year.
Okay.
Little announcement coming this evening for those that have purchased tickets to upgrade potentially to VIP, and that's something we've been getting a lot of through the social, so it's something we wanted to deliver, but in year 3 as opposed to year 2, so it looks like it's going to happen now. So a lot of different things and more upgrades, if you like, to give the punter a better experience.
Yeah, and that's great, building on last year, that you can take away what you've learned from that and see what people want and just give them a better experience this year.
Yeah, there's a great team involved. There's a great management team involved there and loads of experience at the highest level and production team involved and everybody, a lot of experience, and that helps. But yeah, making it bigger every year is important, and not just for the festival, but the knock-on effect it has locally for
absolutely,
for the tourism and the economic impact in Letterkenny, but throughout Donegal. There's people staying all over the county.
And how many are you expecting?
Over 25,000 is what will be attending over the 2 weekends. And it's a great boost. We're working closely with everybody between the council, Go Visit Letterkenny have been very helpful, and the Chamber of Commerce there, and Fáilte Ireland, we spoke to them and we want to expand our plans with them, and a lot of, I don't want to leave anybody out, but all the authorities, the guards, fire brigade, the ambulance, everybody has been fantastic, and it's great for everybody to hopefully benefit, and that's what it will do,
And it's great to have something of this scale in Letterkenny. We see big festivals, but so many people have to travel, and given where we are in Ireland, it's quite a trek for people. So this is something right in their doorstep.
It is, absolutely, and it's something that maybe the fan is more used to travelling to Dublin or Belfast for, so to have Letterkenny, to have the acts that are coming to Letterkenny and put on the spectacle for, a lot of it's about the experience. You can bring the act, but it's about what you provide for the customer going in the door. So it's nothing dissimilar to what you would see at Belsonic, or if you're going to St Anne's Park or Malahide Castle in Dublin.
And even encouraging others to travel here to see what Letterkenny can offer.
Well, that's a massive part of it. Looking at the attendees last night and the night before there for all the shows. We've got great support from Donegal Tourism as well, in terms of the Donegal County Council section of tourism. They've been fantastic, and they've given us sponsorship or funding towards the event. But looking at the attendees last night, they're coming from all over: Glasgow, London, Switzerland, Berlin. You know, it was obviously a lot of people coming, but just a few places that stuck in my head there when I was talking to you.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. And I suppose it's the acts that you have on the bill that are attracting so many people. It's amazing lineup.
Absolutely. Look, at the acts will attract the people, and what's tried to be done is just a bit of variety so that there's something for everybody. So tomorrow night, the Jax Jones, Finn Curran, Kimmich and Levi Heron is very much that 16 plus to 25. And then the Saturday night being the Saw Doctors, a huge one. That's pretty. There's still tickets available, but it'll be sold out come the night. You know, there's about 150 or 200 tickets left.
And anybody that hasn't made any of their gigs elsewhere, you know, they can
get
on there.
I seen them at Fairview Park in June in Dublin, and it was incredible. I had never seen them live before.
Yeah.
But obviously because they were on an extended break there, and I hadn't seen them before that. But the place was absolutely bouncing, and really good to see the age. You know, there was people there from 18, 19, 20 all the way up to 60, 70. So they kind of go across all the ages, and as well as them, then into next weekend you have the Human League, Nick Kershaw, and the Undertones on Thursday, which is an 80s bill, and that's attracting or giving something for that audience. And then the two Picture This gigs on Friday and Saturday, they're sold out. That's, you know, probably you could say 16 to 50 in terms of age range. And then the Sunday, the Memories is a throwback to the 90s pop and dance. So that's 21 plus. So it's trying to put something on for everybody, and it's trying to get that right. And look, we're happy with where we're at, and it's going to be a great boost for Letterkenny and for Donegal in terms of the people that are coming in and spending their money in hotels, bars, restaurants, pharmacies, everywhere, because they'll need everything when they're here, you know, so that's important.
And it's brilliant seeing, you know, there's nearly a theme every day. As you mentioned, somebody's into the undertones, but there's so many then of that genre that, you know, you can go for the entire day. You don't have to just go for one gig. That's right. And I suppose the three acts that are playing on that 80s bill, the Human League, Nick Kershaw and the Undertones, they're three huge names in their own right. That play large venues. So to have the three of them on the one night, it's nearly three concerts in one at €54. So it's great value. So yeah, no, look, it's that's one I'm looking forward to myself, and there's huge excitement about that one. That's next weekend, next Thursday. So we'll get this weekend over us, and then we'll get ready then for next weekend, because it's only Friday, Saturday this weekend, and it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday next weekend. So really exciting, as I say, for the town. The place is absolutely buzzing, and it's there's great positivity towards it, and people coming to spend their weekends in Letterkenny, and that'll be great for everybody. And in terms of getting to summer sessions, you know, there's bus routes as well on, isn't there, this year? Yeah, so last year we were very mindful, it being the first year, that it was really important with the traffic management plan, and given everything that goes on in Letterkenny and how difficult it is anyway with traffic, we were delighted that it worked really, really well. Everybody was really, really happy with it. Many people said they wouldn't actually have known there was a concert even on. And what we done was we used the park and ride, or the park and shuttle system. So we'll be using that again this year. The Dry Arch Business Park down there with the McGettigan's buses. The TK Maxx retail park at the back there, and the Gavin Bowl up there at the business, the Mountaintop Business Park, or the Pine Hill Business Park at the Mountaintop. So they're the park and shuttles, and we'd like to thank them for working with us. They've been fantastic, and it worked really well last year, so it'll be working again. So the shuttles will be Saturday for the Saw Doctors, Thursday for the Human League, Friday and Saturday for Picture This, and Sunday for Memories. So tomorrow night it'll be more buses coming from all over the county dropping off. They're not really a park audience, they're more a dropping off on buses, so they won't be in place tomorrow, but from Saturday on that'll be operating, and it's really important we keep the traffic to a minimum, and that's what we done last year. It worked really well, and working closely with the guards. The event management team have been working really closely. And that's so important for residents here in Letterkenny too, who maybe aren't attending the festival. Absolutely, and it's really, really important that we're mindful of that, you know, between traffic. The events finish at 11:30, which is really, really important as well. Many go on later in other parts of the country, but it's important you respect the neighbours. We also want to push all the attendees into the town at 11:30 to ensure that the town gets that economic impact, as well as beforehand when they're going for food and drinks, but also after the event. It's really important that
that they go in and we get that boost for the town afterwards as well as before. So the 11:30 finish works well and keeps everybody happy, and it's important when you're doing something like this that you have everybody rowing the boat the same direction as such, and that's what's happened. It's been really, really positive, and it's a great buzz, and everybody is really happy, you know.
Yeah, and in terms of anybody with mobility issues, there's measures in place for them too.
Yeah, so the wheelchair access this year, we have very grateful, the school there, Letterkenny Educate Together, just next door. We're very grateful to them for the provision of their car park, which will be used for staff and wheelchair accessibility ticket holders only. There will be a list on the gate for that, so that's very strict, and we advise anybody that's not got that ticket or is not staff not to go there because it'll cause traffic issues. So there are no parking in place. That's very important. Apart from wheelchair users, so that car parking will be at the Educate Together school, and we're very thankful to Anya and all the team in there for that. So and then obviously the disability access platform then is located at the back of the marquee, which is specifically just for them. And again, it'll be they'll receive a wristband upon entry once the ticket is provided, and obviously they've had to provide blue badge evidence and the different evidence as well as blue badge that they can provide that ticks that box for them to be eligible. I'm not involved in that, but that's what happens, I believe. So so then people will get access to the wheelchair the accessibility ramp, which will be a wee bit higher up.
Brilliant.
And they sit there with their carer. So yeah, so that's really important, that everybody has the opportunity to enjoy the events regardless, whether they're in a wheelchair or they're not.
And you've really thought about everything in relation to accommodating people, but even I'm just looking at, you know, the the memories event, isn't that what you call it, on the Sunday? Do you know, boutique food vendors and cocktail bars and karaoke? Like, it sounds like such a great day out.
Yeah, that's a really, really big one. That starts at 3:00 and it finishes a wee bit earlier on the last day. But it's a real throwback to the 90s, if you like, with Cascada.
Yeah, I remember my youth. Bewitched, DJ Sammy.
Yeah, and Bewitched is a really good one. It's a poppy one. Everybody likes to sing their
I saw them
songs.
last weekend actually at the Farmer's
Did you?
Bash,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I would highly recommend them. They're brilliant.
Very good, very good. So look, it's shorter sets because there's obviously a hell of a lot of acts that day. So they'll all come on for 30 minutes, 35 minutes each.
Yeah, and that's plenty too.
Cascada and Bewitched will do a wee bit longer, but what it does is they've all got 3 or 4 really big hits.
Yeah.
So it makes it a full day of songs that everybody knows, sung live by the actual acts themselves. So that's a really exciting day, and hopefully, as I say, the weather's given fantastic. So we're really, really looking forward to getting the shorts on and getting the t-shirts on, and we just encourage people to wear their sunscreen and look after themselves.
Yeah. And how soon after this is finished do you start working on next year? Or maybe you've already thought about that, have you?
No, well, look, as I say, you know, I am just one of the people that are helping as such. There's large companies involved in the festival. But a lot of the planning happens, you know, 9, 10, 11 months out, depending, you know. So that, you know, we'll definitely try and get over the first this year, Michaela, in terms of this weekend and next weekend. But as I say, it's been really, really positive for the town and for all the
huge
businesses.
Effort goes into it.
So it's something we want to continue over the many, many years to come. And as I say, the stakeholders, you know, the Donegal Tourism, the council, you know, Fáilte Ireland, really, really important to make this happen going forward, because we believe it's got huge potential. And that it's something that Letterkenny, but more importantly, Donegal needs in terms of large scale events.
And even the entire Northwest.
In terms of, yes, absolutely. So most, like a lot of the people coming to the gigs come from Sligo, Donegal, Derry, but obviously a hell of a lot come from outside of that as well. Look, as you say, it's something we want to keep going. It's got great potential, and we're really looking forward now to sitting down and talking to the people we need to talk to about going to the next level in terms of the stakeholders, because it ticks our boxes in terms of tourism, local economy, and providing a platform for artists, not just big artists. We've got obviously more local artists opening up and playing on the bill as well, but it's that economic impact, hopefully, and the boost that it can give for the other stakeholders that play that part in getting people to boost the tourism. So we're looking forward to working really closely with them and taking it to the next level, and we just want to thank them all and everybody involved, the authorities that we've been working with, because without all of them pulling together and working with us so
it wouldn't
positively,
be as seamless.
It wouldn't be as seamless. So a lot of planning's been done by many different people, and we want to just thank all of them.
Yeah. Well, amazing acts coming up now over the next 2 weeks. The Saw Doctors, the Human League, Picture This, Bewitched, DJ Sammy. That's just a few. So where can people find out more information or see what tickets are available left?
Yeah, so www.summer- which is the wee line in the middle, sessions.ie. So www.summer-sessions.ie. But if you hop on the social media there in terms of Summer Sessions on Facebook and Instagram and all them different things, all the posters and links and everything are there. But a one-stop shop is very simple in terms of the landing page on the website. You just go into it and it shows you the 6 events that are coming up, and you can just straight link into tickets. So that's
perfect. Great. Shane Barr, good luck for this weekend and next. It sounds like a great time. So that is Shane Barr, organiser of Summer Sessions 2025. Thank you so much for calling up this morning.
Thanks, Michaela.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
If you're aged 59 to 70, we will invite you for a free HSE bowel screening home test. Screening can help find signs of bowel cancer early, before any symptoms show, making it easier to treat.
Donegal Suffolk Sheep Breeders' premier show and sale of SIS-approved shearling rams and ram lambs will take place this Friday, 15th of August at Rafo Mart. Show is at 6 with the sale at 7. Online bidding available via martbids.ie. That's this Friday at Rafo Mart.
Why leave the magic moments and great scenes you've captured sitting on your phone when you can have them printed at McGee's Chemist? Using McGee's website or one of their in-store kiosks, you just upload your photos, select the ones you want, and have them printed instantly within an hour, or use the 24-hour service. 35mm and film from disposable cameras also printed, and old photos can be digitally restored. Hold your memories in your hand with McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny.
What might sound like chaos to us is a moment of pure serenity for Lisa. Because the kids are back for seconds, the picky eaters are happy, and her barbecue is going down a treat. From barbecue bundles to everyday savings, summer is served at Dunnes Stores, with online delivery, click and collect, and same-day delivery with Buy Me. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply.
Planning a celebration? Discover the brand new Lily's Restaurant at the Mount Errigal Hotel. A stylish new space with beautiful surroundings and your own private bar. Perfect for birthdays, communions, anniversaries and more. Book now at Res Diary or call 074 912 2700.
Your specialty is quality tiles, bathroom suites and wooden floors. Who is the best range of tiles in Donegal?
Crawford Tiles.
The best wood flooring?
Crawford Tiles.
The best bathroom suites?
Crawford Tiles.
5-day bathroom refits?
Crawford Tiles.
And who's been tampering with my questions?
That'll be me.
Crawford Tiles, Castlefin. That'll be them. 07491 43942.
Don't delay when you get your bowel screening invitation. Call us today on 1-800 45 45 55 or visit bowelscreen.ie. From the HSE.
So Palliative Care Week 2025 is an annual campaign dedicated to raising public awareness and understanding of palliative care and its many benefits. It's taking place from September the 7th to 13th, and this year's theme is Palliative Care, Living for Today, Planning for Tomorrow. I'm joined now by Karen Charnley, CEO of the All Ireland Institute of Hospice and Palliative Care. Good morning to you, Karen.
Good morning.
And Karen, I suppose Palliative Care Week is hugely important because there's so many people out there that maybe don't know of the services that are available because they've never had first-hand experience of needing it.
Yeah, and what we find is that there are many misconceptions about palliative care, and people aren't aware of the breadth of supports that are available to them and that could benefit them or a loved one when diagnosed with a life-limiting condition. So throughout the week, we want to encourage people across the island to learn more about palliative care and how it seeks to positively support people with life-limiting conditions, putting the the person at the centre of the care and supporting their physical, social, emotional, and spiritual needs.
And what kind of support then, in a bit more detail, do people benefit from?
So I suppose for someone with an advanced, with a life-limiting condition, and this can be someone with advanced cancer, advanced heart, lung, kidney disease, or neurological conditions such as dementia, MND, multiple sclerosis. So a wide range of conditions can benefit from palliative care, but the types of care can be, for example, thinking about physical care, it can be supporting with managing complex symptoms such as pain and other symptoms that people will have. On the social side, I suppose it's supporting people with looking at what benefits they might be, what supports are available to them, be that benefits, be that carers, be that, the range of supports. I suppose on the emotional supports, obviously it's a very difficult time for people when they're diagnosed with a life-limiting condition. And, it's so, that the teams, the palliative care professionals are there to support people emotionally. And I suppose finally on the spiritual support, spiritual needs, supporting people to, I suppose, thinking about the spiritual needs, may that be, it could be religious, so it could be, thinking about those issues.
And I suppose the theme for this year, Living for Today, Planning for Tomorrow, that is so important in terms of this kind of care, because, you do need to, I suppose, try and take some positives. So, if in this moment, say, we're speaking about today, living for today, that, make the most of the situations and the time that you do feel a bit better.
Yeah, we chose the theme because we want to emphasise how palliative care enables people to have a good quality of life in the here and now, as you just said. And whilst we also want to support people to think about making plans for the future, including having discussions with their loved ones about where they'd like to be cared for, so thinking through those care things. I suppose thinking of like living for today as the theme, thinking of making the most of the here and now, thinking of someone I'm in touch, one of my friends, thinking through, how palliative care is supporting that person to, make the most of the here and now. Maybe thinking of, like my friend actually has recently got married since he had the diagnosis of a life-limiting condition, and supporting him to have those discussions with his family members.
And do you think that there's still a lot of people out there that don't realise the support that is available in terms of palliative care, that a lot of people are missing out?
Yeah, I think those misconceptions about palliative care still exist, and that's understandable as well. But people often, when they hear the term palliative care, they think of the end of life, they think of the last days. But actually, palliative care can be available, can be a benefit for a number of up to a number of years. So one of our volunteers, for example, he was diagnosed with advanced cancer, and he accessed palliative care whilst in hospital. He'd had surgery. He was discharged into a hospice. He then returned home, and the community palliative care provided supports, and he's now been discharged from those services. But he knows that if and when the time comes, that those services will be available to him.
Yeah, there's so much support. And it's not just the patient themselves as well. Their families can seek support too.
Yeah, so for example, your listeners in Donegal, Donegal Hospice does provide supports to family members and to carers. And there's a lot of information and resources, including from our own website, thepalliativehub.com, that look to support family carers and family members with obviously adapting to their loved one having a life-limiting condition.
And that emotional support that you spoke about a bit earlier, I imagine that is so important because, you referenced your friend there being diagnosed. Sometimes when somebody receives news like that, it's very hard to see the wood through the trees and figure out how they're going to make the most of life, or where they seek support and where they can help make themselves better.
Yeah, like obviously receiving that news is let's face it, it's devastating. But I suppose it's what we look to do through Palliative Care Week is support raising awareness of the benefits of palliative care and where people can access it, but also signposting to available service, be that within Donegal Hospice, or be it to other services, say the Irish Hospice Foundation with their wide range of services. And if people look at our adultpalliativehub.com, there's a wide range of services that we signpost to, which cover, from accessing benefits to getting further, including through to bereavement support.
And there's a lovely competition as well as part of Palliative Care Week this year. And I suppose it's trying to highlight that you can live for today as well.
Yeah, we're having a photo competition this year. We look to do something new every year. So we've got a photo competition and we're asking people to capture what the theme means to them. So living for today, planning for tomorrow. And you can find further information on it on the palliativehub.com. The photos will be hosted on our website, and there will be certificates and prizes awarded for the winning entries from both jurisdictions. So it'd be great if your listeners, if any budding photographers or just someone who's captured an image that they think encaptures that theme.
And in terms of people seeking more information in relation to palliative care, is there much information locally, or does your website give details of local services as well?
Yeah, it does. So the palliativehub.com will link you through to our suite of resources, but also just to highlight Donegal Hospice during Palliative Care Week on Thursday the 11th of September at 6 o'clock. And they're holding a walk, a Palliative Care Week walk to celebrate the week, and it'll be a walk from the hospice car park, a 40 to 50 minute walk, and there'll also be the opportunity to pause and for people to remember their loved ones and light a candle, and there'll be refreshments. So that's a great event that Donegal Hospice are running. Also, the clinical nurse specialists in palliative care in Donegal will be running drop-in sessions for the public and health professionals, where people can ask questions and meet the team. That'll be taking place during the week, and they're going to advertise that in the local primary care centres. We'll also be making information about that available on the palliativehub.com, where we've got an events section where people can click on the different counties and see what's so we're adding to that all the time. So those events aren't currently on there, but they shortly will be. So and there's a lot of online events as well that are taking place during the week that your listeners will be able to take part in as well.
Great. Karen Sharnley, CEO of the All Ireland Institute of Hospice and Palliative Care, thank you so much for joining me this morning. We're going to take another quick break and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
If you're looking for a competitive insurance quote, contact Hickey, Clarke and Langan Insurance Brokers in Letterkenny. Home, car or van insurance, farm, commercial or public liability insurance. They compare quotes from all the leading insurers so you get a great price. Call Hickey, Clarke and Langan on 91 26688 or call into the office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey, Clarke and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey, Clarke and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Hurry! The Hillary's summer sale ends soon. Don't miss out on up to 50% off hundreds of made-to-measure blinds, curtains and shutters. Plus, you can still get €50 off your blind order when you choose electric, making controlling your blinds a breeze. But be quick, these offers end 26th of August. And if you find the same product with the same service for less, we'll match the price. Book your free in-home appointment today or visit hillarys.ie. The Hillary's summer sale ends soon. Don't miss it. Conditions apply.
Get ready for the Donegal League at Brian McCormick Sports. BMC Teamwear, fully personalised kits with matching training packs. Call in to our Teamwear room or send us your wish list to teamwear@bmcsports.ie. Brian McCormick Sports, sponsor of Donegal League Premier Division.
Country Sundays at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny. This Sunday there's Jack Keogh and his band dancing from 9 till 11, admission €20. Doors open at 8 with support artists from 8:15. Plus music afterwards in McGettigan's Bar with Jack Larry. That's Jack Keogh this Sunday at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Get back to school sorted with all the essentials from school jumpers to shoes. Visit our kidswear department in store or shop online at mcelhinney's.com today.
Today's weather, a mix of cloud and sunny spells with scattered showers. Some will be heavy. Drier conditions will gradually extend this evening. Highest temperatures of 19 to 24 degrees. Now, I'm joined in studio by Joseph Gallagher, Heritage Officer with Donegal County Council. Good morning to you, Joseph.
Good morning, Michaela.
Very busy week ahead for yourselves.
Absolutely, yeah. No, we're really looking forward to it. So Heritage Week, like you said, starts on Saturday and runs until the following Sunday. And there's this morning there's 115 events taking place for Heritage Week, and most of them are free.
Yeah,
all across the week.
It's a great week, and we were just talking that it's great to have it as well just before the children go back to school, so there's loads to keep them occupied.
Yeah, I mean it's part of European Heritage Open Days, and this year's theme is architecture and heritage. But in Ireland, we celebrated over the course of a week rather than over a weekend, which is most other European countries. So this year's theme in Ireland is exploring our foundations. So it's not just about our built heritage, it's also our natural heritage, our cultural heritage, our archaeological heritage. And like I said, the community groups and the individuals all around the county and the heritage organisations around the county have really rose to the challenge and have organised a great programme of events.
And there's so many heritage sites, and as you mentioned, you know, the natural heritage here in Donegal, it's so widespread too.
Well, that's right, yeah. And Saturday, actually, the 23rd of August is Wild Child Day. So there's a particular day sort of given over to that to try and encourage sort of families and children to engage with our natural heritage as well. But as you'll see in the programme throughout the week, there's events taking place on various different themes to deal with our heritage.
Even I just literally am looking at the top one, Inishowen's Secret Island. That sounds exciting.
That's right, yeah. I mean, again, you'll have to go along to find out exactly what the secret is.
Yeah, you can't give it away.
Can't really give it away. Now, again, for some of the events, including that one, booking is required.
Okay.
So again, we would encourage people to check out the website, heritageweek.ie. All the details are there, and it'll tell you sort of if there's booking required, and also kind of give you a little bit more detail about the events themselves. But yeah, there's some really intriguing titles, like, you know, kind of in there. And again, there's everything really. Like, I mean, there's built heritage open houses. So, for example, on Saturday and Sunday of the opening weekend of Heritage Week, there's a lot of properties, historic properties, that you normally wouldn't get access to that are open free of charge to the public. And again, in Donegal, again, because we're a rural county, we've kind of spread it out throughout the week. So there's heritage open doors throughout the week. And again, these are places, like I said, that you mightn't normally have access to. And you'll get to hear about the local stories from people sort of who really know about those places themselves. And then there's things like traditional skills and craft demonstrations. I know there's a demonstration on Church Lane on traditional skills here in Letterkenny. There's a whole range of guided walks all across the county. There's site visits, heritage site visits, field trips. There's exhibitions going on over the course of the week as well. Talks and workshops, boat trips, bus tours. There's historical reenactments, like our Working Over By historical reenactment in the County Museum over a couple of days there during Heritage Week. There's launch
That sounds
events.
great. Donegal Immigrants Working Lives in Scotland.
It's been great. Actually, we launched it there on the 11th of July, and it's running until January. So you actually have a chance to not only see it during Heritage Week, but also at other times. But there's a programme of events as well linked to it taking place in the County Museum over Heritage Week. But it's really been great because it looks at Donegal people who worked in Scotland from 1940 to 1990 and tells their story.
And so many people will know someone that's worked in Scotland.
Well, this is it, like, you know, and again, because the stories, I mean, when we started out asking people about it, they said, oh, why do you want to know about that? Sure, everybody did that. Sort of my family did that, my neighbours did that. It's quite ordinary, but it's really the ordinariness that made it kind of universal.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's been such a tremendous response. People home sort of from Scotland have been visiting the exhibition. We've had people coming from other parts of Ireland to see the exhibition. And of course, lots of locals have come along as well because their family members have been there, and some of them are featured in the exhibition as well.
Oh, that's lovely. And that's their, you know, we're talking about heritage, that's their personal heritage as well, which is lovely that it's documented for years to come.
Yeah, and I think too that's one of the other things about Heritage Week is that a lot of these events during Heritage Week, they're organised by local people. They're telling the stories of kind of what happened locally as well. And the people are tremendously proud of their heritage. They're enthusiastic as well. And that's great, like for people wanting to find out about their own locality, but also for visitors to the county. It's a great opportunity to come and engage with local people and to meet kind of local people and to hear the stories that normally you wouldn't find maybe in tourist brochures.
Yeah. And you see throughout the years that there is an increase in this and the interest in Heritage Week, and I suppose heritage in general in Donegal.
Yeah, I mean, every year we have new people and new groups organising events for Heritage Week. We have people that have been organising events for the past 20 years. Every year they organise events, not the same event, different events. Yeah. I mean, they really try and tie it into the theme, or maybe it's a particular project that they're working on. So, I mean, we have, like I said, we have over 120 events usually taking place every week, every year for Heritage Week. And again, we're one of the counties with the highest number of Heritage Week events across the country as well. Like, you know, so I think it goes really to speak to the strength of the heritage sector really in the county. And like I said, a lot of these groups organise events on a voluntary basis, and they use their own resources, or perhaps they're funded by the Heritage Council, or in some instances by Donegal County Council. We provide a little bit of seed funding for some of their projects as well. But they really rise to the challenge, you know, kind of for that and organise these events and put on a great programme.
And it's amazing looking through, you know, the schedule for the week. You don't realise how much heritage is in Donegal, how many different elements, like, you know, there's Try the Pipes in Donegal, and there's just so much that when you actually sit down and think relates to everybody here in Donegal.
Well, that's it, like, you know, and again, the programme is quite varied, and I suppose it depends really what aspect of heritage that you're interested in. I would encourage people as well maybe to go and find out about an aspect of heritage maybe wouldn't normally be sort of what they'd be interested in, because I think too, sort of a lot of the events, because like, for example, there's a lot of field trips, for example. Some people might go along, you know, maybe for health reasons. Some people might go along for social reasons because their friends are going. Some people might go along because they're interested in the subject matter. But maybe whatever reason you go for, you might come away with a much richer experience than you'd anticipated. Yeah. So we'd encourage people sort of to get out there and to explore the different events that are taking place.
Yeah, no, definitely. Sounds great. There's something for everybody. Like, there's children's events, and as you say, you know, you can go on a field trip, you can go away for the day. There's just so much. Where can people find out more information then, Joe?
Yeah, so I suppose the main portal would be the Heritage Week website, heritageweek.ie. If you go there, all the details are there. There's people can register events right up to the start of Heritage Week, so there might be sort of new events coming online in the next couple of days as well. So check that out. If there's any changes as well, they'll be posted on the website. If you go to the Donegal County Council website as well, there's details there. And also for those people maybe who don't have access to the internet, there's a 4-page listing of the Heritage Week events in today's Donegal News. So that'll be another opportunity.
And any of the ones that you have to book for, are they in high demand yet that people would need to?
Yes, I would say, yeah, you know, kind of have a look through the event guide as soon as you can and try and plan your day out. Also on the website, you can search by day, you can search by area to see what's going on there. So you can really kind of quite quickly get a handle on what's taking place. And like I said, if there's booking required, you can either book online or there's always contact details, either a phone number or an email address where you can contact the organisers to organise your participation in that event.
Great. Joseph Gallagher, Heritage Officer with Donegal County Council, thank you so much for calling in this morning, and we'll be back with news headlines at 11.
Highland Bakery brings the magic to your morning tea break. Golden scones, still warm, soft in the middle and impossible to resist. Look for the packet with the rabbit on it. Fresh from the oven to your local shop. 25 years of Highland Bakery.
Your wedding day deserves a setting as breathtaking as your love story. At Harvey's Point in Donegal, say I do on the sparkling shores of Loch Esk, framed by the majestic Blue Stack Mountains. From romantic outdoor ceremonies to elegant receptions in our grand ballroom, every moment is designed with love and delivered with 5-star care. Harvey's Point. Love at first sight. True love forever. Start your journey with a personal viewing. Visit harveyspoint.com. Your forever begins here.
Exam results arriving? You're invited to enrolment days at Northwest Regional College. On the day your exam results arrive, come along to your local Derry Londonderry, Strabane or Limavady campus to apply for a course or confirm your place. Choose from our wide range of apprenticeships, level 3 diplomas, foundation degrees and so much more. For more, visit nwrc.ac.uk/results. North West Regional College. From here to career.
It's time for the mid-season sale at Easy Living Furniture. Enjoy massive savings in store and online with hundreds of special offers across all of our departments, including sofas, dining, bedroom, mattress, home accessories and more. Looking to upgrade your home? Look no further. We have the furniture you want at prices you'll love. Shop now at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry, Londonderry.
Injuries happen, illness strikes, but waiting in A&E doesn't have to be your only option. At Ophelia Letterkenny Minor Injuries and Illness Clinic, we treat everything from broken bones, cuts, burns, infections, rashes and more, with X-ray on site so you get answers fast. No appointments, no delays, just expert care right when you need it. Don't wait. Walk in today or visit ophelia.ie. Ophelia Letterkenny. Expert care without the wait.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Time now for the latest news headlines with Donal Kavanagh.
Thank you, Michaela. Good morning. The 100% Redress Party has paid tribute to the Micah Action Group, which has dissolved this week. The party says it wants to publicly recognise and thank MAG for their extraordinary commitment, dedication and tirelessness. The final statement from MAG last night said it's time to pass the baton on to others. This morning, Councillor Thomas Sean Devine, who chairs Donegal County Council's Effective Blocks Committee, says that's a baton they're happy to take up and pledged they will continue the fight. A new report has found a significant number of Gardaí working in the road policing unit have deliberately ignored offences. The review by Crowe Consultants is being described as shocking, stark and disturbing. It looked at the behaviour of 100 Gardaí involved in roads policing across 6 divisions and found the majority were professional, dedicated and productive, but a significant cohort of officers were disinterested and had a poor work ethic. Assistant Commissioner Paula Hillman says it made uncomfortable reading. Donegal County Council is being urged to restrict the movement of heavy vehicles on Old Town Bridge in Letterkenny until a full safety review is completed and repairs are carried out. The call has come from Aintree representative Mary T. Sweeney, who believes lives are potentially being put at risk because of serious structural cracks on the bridge. Children at 55 preschool facilities in Donegal are being included in Bia Blasta, a preschool nutrition programme designed to provide daily lunches for preschool children in disadvantaged areas. Minister Norma Foley says around €4.2 million in funding is being provided nationally to ensure 25,000 children get a nutritious meal daily. And 18 outdoor recreation projects in Donegal are to share €706,000 under the Outdoor Recreation Infrastructure Scheme. It's been announced today by Minister Dara Callery. It's part of a national allocation of €8.7 million. 221 projects across the country are to benefit. Pat the Cub Gallagher says it's welcome that so much of it is coming to Donegal. And we're back with news headlines again at 12 noon.
Life is full of tough choices, from what we'll have for dinner to finding better ways to save. From asking yourself, do I really want to spend the rest of my life with Brian, to deciding where to get a coffee. So why not make an easy choice and choose Eurospar? With trolley loads of value, sustainable choices and friendly service, it's always easy to shop at Eurospar, your super easy supermarket. Unfortunately, we can't help with Brian.
Don't forget, you need to log on to Highland Radio to be in with a chance to win €20,000 in the Mega Summer Draw. You can win €20,000 in cash, and the first draw will take place tomorrow, the 15th of August. So we're giving away €2,500 in cash each Friday until Friday, 5th of September. And on the 9 till noon show, then you can win €10,000. So you can log on to highlandradio.com, click on the draw link, and you can get 1 ticket for €15 or 5 for €50. You can also give us a call here on 074 91 25,000, and we'll be happy to process that for you as well. Some of your comments. Hi, can you make residents along the Marble Hill Road aware that when they leave their bins out to get emptied, to lift them in again? Yesterday evening, I was leaving Marble Hill Beach and a Jeep was a little in front of me. He had stopped and was out of his Jeep heading towards a wheelie bin with a bag of rubbish. Only a man on a bike shouted, "What are you at?" He had the lid up and at this stage, however, put the lid back down and walked back to the Jeep with his bag of rubbish. He was clearly going to dump his rubbish into someone else's bin instead of taking it home with him, only he was startled. The Jeep was also a Donegal Rage and not a visitor. Another listener says, why are there no concerns with traffic parking in the village of Dunfanaghy? I cannot understand how you can sit on the main N56 road, eat and get drunk. There's obviously serious concern for people's safety and how the council allows this. I wonder, is there a health and safety report for this? Also, I have witnessed emergency vehicles try to get through this mess with blue lights. I can't see how the council have passed this. Clearly, footpaths need to be made smaller to widen the street. Now, I am joined in studio by Paul McLaughlin of Balladerg Garden Station at the mountaintop here in Letterkenny. Good morning to you, Paul.
Good morning, Michaela.
Are you enjoying the good weather?
It's grand, actually. Nice wee boost at the end of towards the end of the
lovely,
summer.
isn't
All
it?
right.
What about the rain that's out there today, though?
No sign of it yet, anyway.
There was this morning a wee bit of a drizzle, but I suppose that helps having the balance, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
The sunshine and the bit of the rain. So, you've been driving about the county over the last few weeks and you've seen plenty of plants looking great.
Yeah, exactly. The county's looking very good at the minute. Sort of the stage of summer, it always looks great.
Mhm.
I mean, but there are a couple sort of jumping out at you at the minute there. I don't know if you noticed them. The Crosmia there,
Okay.
which people might be familiar with it. They're scrolling along the roadsides these days. Real vibrant orange flower.
Oh, yes,
to
they're
it.
lovely, yeah.
The sort of grassy thing.
Yeah.
They're getting to be a wee bit controversial now. They're
Oh.
they're sort of doing too well at the minute.
Right.
They were introduced to Ireland from South Africa as a garden plant, but they've
Okay.
kind of escaped. So they have in their
Nearly like a wildflower, is it?
pretty
now?
much. So they're kind of becoming almost invasive. They just love the conditions in Ireland. The
Right.
sort of warm, damp summers, and that's just perfect for them. But
Yeah.
but they are looking amazing at the minute. So they're sort of on the border of whether they're just doing too well, kind of.
And what else have you seen? The hydrangeas?
Yes, the hydrangeas, probably one of the most sort of traditionally one of the most popular plants in
Mm.
Donegal. Sort of everybody remembers it from their granny's
Yes,
garden and
I
stuff
know.
like that.
Everybody had one, didn't
Yeah,
they?
pretty much. That's suppose the fact that everybody had ones. They're testament. They're quite easy to grow.
Okay.
They're very easy to propagate yourself. Back maybe before people had garden centres and that, they would have
Yeah.
taken a snip off somebody else's,
Yeah.
stuck it in. They're nearly guaranteed to grow. But looking very well at the minute there, and will continue to through September, October.
Yeah,
So-
that's what I need, something very easy to grow.
Yes,
Not that I do much of the gardening, but yeah, I just feel that, and there's so much maintenance. Whereas these
Yes.
kind of grow themselves and
Pretty
they're
much.
easy enough
Yeah,
maintained.
cut them back once a year and let them batter on themselves. They're
And you
happy
can
enough.
get them in any colour as well.
Yes, I used to be traditionally it was always just the pinks and blues, and that
Mhm.
was dictated by your soil. If you
Okay.
had acidic soil, you had a pink one, and if you had alkaline soil, you had a blue one.
Ah, right.
But now they've actually been hybridized more and more, so you can get all sorts of more
Different
vibrant colours and
variations,
everything
yeah.
else. Yeah.
Very good. So anybody that's keen to do any work in the garden this good weather, what would your tips be?
Yeah. Generally tips, get out there, get involved, enjoy your garden. This is the sort of weather that we work for, if you know what I mean. Now is good enough time to be planting away at stuff like, obviously if you're maintaining the lawn, just be careful if the dry spell continues too much.
Yeah.
Maybe don't cut the lawn too low because you might stress it out a bit, if you
Okay.
know what I mean. But
And
generally
how
get out,
often should you cut it?
I suppose depends what sort of lawn you're looking for.
Okay.
Some people are looking for the bowling green sort of thing. There you'll be chatting cutting at least once a week, maybe
Right,
more.
okay.
If you know what I mean. Whereas the average person, like even average green areas, an average lawn. Like people in Donegal tend to have quite big lawns, so they don't cut them that often. But generally about every 2 weeks. in
Yeah,
the summertime.
I don't have, my husband has one of the robo
Oh yes,
mowers.
yes.
But now he'd put it out a few times a week.
Mhm.
Is that where we're going wrong?
Yes. No. That's very good. Now, funny, the robots kind of work almost consistently, if you know what I mean. Because my brother's one down there, and it's always floating about there.
Yeah.
So it is. Yeah, but they seem to be. In fairness, my brother actually his garden, he has just wired one side of it for the
Right,
robot,
okay, yeah.
and he just cuts the other one normally.
Ah, right, okay.
And actually now after the course of about a year, the side with the robot is actually looking a lot better.
All
than the
right.
side that he cuts just
Okay.
regularly, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it is. So
Ah,
it's
right.
actually. So it seems to be just. I've been keeping an eye on it.
Yeah,
to
to
see if
see,
actually which way.
evaluate,
'Cause
but yeah.
obviously the robots leave the grass behind them. They cut it
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
regularly, so that's always working down in the
Well,
grass.
suppose that's maybe the aim then, that if you do cut it regularly, there's not as much left then.
Exactly.
lying.
Yeah. And they can kind of liquefy the sort of grass clippings almost, so that then becomes fertilizer to grow on the
Right,
grass.
okay.
for the future.
Yeah, it's not fertilising ours too much now.
No.
I also have a dog which doesn't have
Right,
the grass
yes. They can bring their own problems.
Yeah, that's probably the main issue. And what about, we were talking about hydrangeas there and, taking cuttings.
Yeah.
Do people still take cuttings of different plants that they see along roadsides?
Oh, absolutely. It'd be sort of, a lot of people even would use it as a hobby, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So they would just grow on plants. I suppose there's no real downside to it in the sense that you planting the plant. If it doesn't work, it's cost you nothing.
Yeah.
And if it does work, you have a brand new plant that
Yeah.
you can brag to your friends that you grew yourself.
And is there any particular time of the year that this is the best time to do
Yeah,
it?
so certain plants work certain times a year, but now is pretty much prime time, sort of into late August into September.
Okay.
It's, if you're going to try something, try it now. That's probably your best chance of success.
Yeah.
You're you're not into the cold of the winter, and you're sort of theoretically past the very warm bit of the summer.
Yeah.
So now should be a perfect time to do it.
And what about trying to grow fruit and veg?
Fruit and veg, yes.
Difficult, is it?
Not at all. So it's not. No, a lot of fruit. Some fruit and veg can be quite difficult to grow, but a lot of it is actually quite easy.
Okay.
So it is now. It's a matter. You just go down and get yourself a packet of seeds and sort of start with someone. The big key to people is start with someone you like.
Okay.
Because you get stuff that's very easy to grow, but maybe nobody in the house will eat it, which is
Right.
kind of a waste if you know
Yeah.
what I mean. Yeah. But no, so plenty. Even start with something like herbs.
Yeah.
So you'll always use them, like, and sort of build yourself up.
Yeah.
Then.
And if you get the small herb plants in a supermarket and plant them,
Yeah.
are they as good, or should you start with the seeds?
To be honest, I've had mixed success with the ones you buy in the supermarket.
Me too.
So in a lot of cases, what happens in a lot of cases for them, they're produced for the food, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So they're produced in a very quick.
Just to eat.
Yeah, exactly, and they're sort of forced on almost.
Yeah.
And once they're liquid fed in the nursery where they're
Right,
produced,
okay.
and whenever you bring them home, you're not sort of giving them the same care and attention.
Yeah.
So they can actually go backwards.
Right, okay.
A lot of the time, if you want to do something like even rosemary,
Yeah.
mint would be very easy to grow,
Mhm.
and even basil, stuff like that. There, you're better starting from seeds nearly because
right, okay.
you're producing it at a slower rate. It'll take you longer to get
And it
there,
suits
but
your environment then too.
exactly, and you will have
Yeah.
a much stronger plant.
And do you need to harvest them often?
Yes.
Do you know if you let it just grow wild, kind of kills it, does it?
No, it wouldn't kill it so much, but no, they do sort of benefit from and cut back quite regularly.
Yeah.
So they do, and by doing that, you're always just giving it a chance to regenerate themselves. And for herbs for use, they're sort of the fresher leaves would tend to be more potent. So
Yeah.
the more you cut it back, generally, the more you produce.
Yeah, I purchased a chili plant.
Yes.
But it was kind of like that. It was in a supermarket. It was going great for a couple of weeks, but
Mhm.
I don't know. And there seems to be a terrible sap on it.
Oh, right.
Very sticky now.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
it's not going too well.
Have you got many chilies of it?
Yeah, a good few actually.
Oh,
Now,
very
I can't determine if there's definitely new ones growing or not.
Right.
But there are some smaller ones. But when I bought it, the chilies were great. And I have it maybe over a month now, and I've got maybe 2 harvests of it.
Oh,
and there's
very
still
good, very
more
good.
on it.
Aye.
So
And
it
if
is
you
good.
see wee flowers forming, the chili will come after this.
Right, okay.
Aye.
That's a good to note. And we were talking about lawns earlier and mowing your lawn. So what would be, if somebody wants to get like a Wimbledon
Yes.
garden, what would be your tips for that?
Yeah, pretty much. At this stage, if the weather continues to be very dry, maybe lift the
Mhm.
lawnmower blades a couple of clicks and just don't stress it out in that sense. Generally, coming in now to the autumn, you can give it a feed. It'd be a slightly different feed than you would give in the springtime. It'd be sort of
Okay.
less nitrogen in it,
Right.
which kind of builds up the plant roots, and that without actually growing on the grass too much. So that should set them up nicely to go well over the winter.
Yeah.
And then should be ready to spring whenever the spring comes in,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
And is there anything that you should do over the winter, or now's the time to kind of put the work in?
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of people around here, moss tends to be a big problem with it. So if you want to reduce the susceptibility to moss, you can actually, this time of year, you can give it a thing, run over with a thing called a scarifier, which
Okay.
pulls
Oh,
out
yeah.
a lot of the moss that's there. And over the winter, like especially the autumn time, if leaves tend to build up in your lawn,
Mhm.
maybe actually just rake off the leaves if you get a chance.
Clean
Because the leaves sort of hold the moisture there, which
Right,
becomes a
okay.
better environment for the moss to come along.
Yeah. And if, now's holiday time, a lot of people are away. So I suppose that's a good time to give, if they're going to treat the garden, to
Yeah.
give it a rest and get it to
Exactly. Yeah.
regenerate.
Yes, absolutely. Now, from now on, it's a grand time for the
Mm.
autumn feed, and especially if you are away and not going to be cutting for a few weeks.
Yeah.
So a lot of time, a lot of fertilizers, they work whenever the grass is actively growing. So if you're applying a fertilizer to get, generally a good idea, cut it, leave it for about 3 days until it's starting to recover, then put on the fertilizer.
Right,
And
okay.
then it'll actually absorb it much better.
Yeah. An awful lot of work on all this, Paul.
Oh, a lot of work, all right. That keeps me busy.
Yeah, sure, everybody gets there. Do you notice that, we've had great heat this summer? Do you notice a difference compared to last year?
Yeah, funny, there would be. Last year was a bit of a disaster every year in terms of, I don't think there was 48 hours without rain. So
Yeah.
no, definitely everything's looking better this year. We did get heat and we did get rain. We got it all at the right times, kind of.
Yeah.
So we did. So now it's been quite a good year for it.
Yeah, that's ideal. Some of your questions now for Paul. I have hydrangeas in a large pot. They have lost their vibrant colour and look like they're dying off.
Mm-hmm. Yes. If they're in a pot, I would say the likelihood is they're just running out of steam. As much as anything else, probably been in a pot quite a while.
Okay.
So the answer there would be to either repot it into a bigger pot if you don't have a sort of suitable place in the garden, or actually plant it out into the garden at this stage. And because, like I say, he's just sort of probably becoming pot bound. And he's just running out of nutrients. So put him into a bigger pot, give him a feed, or put him into the garden, give him a feed, and he should bounce back, no bother.
And then if you do replant it in the garden, do you need to continually feed it there, or it will climatise eventually?
Generally, it'll climatise to the garden. Sort of any shrub you have with that in the garden, it's a good idea maybe to use like a long-term fertiliser, but twice a year. So like the poultry manure there, sort of spring, late summer.
Yeah.
And that'll keep them happy.
Another listener asks, overgrown rhododendron, can it be cut back hard and when?
Yes, can be cut back quite hard, all right. Now would be a perfect time to do it.
Okay.
Rhododendrons are a funny plant in the sense that they set next year's flower bud quite early.
Right.
So they do. So autumn time's a better time to cut them back rather than spring, because like if you cut them in springtime, you're definitely going to cut the flowers off them.
Yeah.
This time of year, you may lose some. You might have to sacrifice some of the flowers.
Okay.
But no, you can cut away.
And another question in relation to hydrangeas, when is the best time to cut them back? They're just completely overgrown.
Yes, completely overgrown. I wouldn't cut it back now because like we were chatting about earlier on, it's sort of coming into flower now.
Yeah.
And if you cut it back, you're going to lose any chance you have of flowers this year. So generally, there's two schools of thought on it. Some people reckon don't cut it back in the autumn because over the winter, then the frost can get into the heart of the plant.
Okay.
But I don't really agree with that, to be honest. So I think cut it back autumn or early spring.
Yeah.
And you'll still be all right. And you should just maintain the flowers until that.
Yeah. Another listener asks, why are my blackberry bushes leaves turning yellow, wilting and showing a yellow powder? Are the fruits okay to eat?
Yes. Big thing there would be blackberry or blackcurrant would be the two things.
Okay.
It could be either, if you know what I mean. The sort of powdery thing on them would be mildew, which is sort of quite common this time of year. But in terms of the fruits, if the fruits are perfectly good looking, it's grand to eat away at them. If they're black currants, they're probably going a wee bit over at this stage. They're
Okay.
sort of more late July. And whereas blackberries, now you're into prime season for them, if you know what I
Okay,
mean.
yeah.
There's no tradition about them. You shouldn't eat them after St. Michael's Day, which is the end of September.
Right.
Because do you ever, I don't know if you're familiar with that thing they used to call the cuckoo spit.
No, never heard
It's
of that.
it's like it's actually a mite, but it puts out a sort of secretion. It looks
Right,
like
okay.
a spittle that
Right, okay.
basically it
I've
protects.
probably seen it, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure you've probably seen it even for right through fields as a
Yeah.
child. You would have got it on you, if you know what I mean. But that tends to happen after the end of September on blackberries.
Right.
And generally they go bad after that. But tradition had it that was a puka, which was like a bad spirit was ground spitting on the blackberries. So
Right.
you couldn't eat them after that point.
Terrify the children back
Exactly.
in the day.
Keep them from the blackberries. But no, if it's a blackcurrant, they're probably a wee bit over.
Right.
But if it's blackberry, they would be sort of prime season now.
But imagine if they bite into them, they'd say no.
Exactly. But them fruit bushes, naturally, whenever they put the energy into the fruit.
Okay.
And the leaves then tend to suffer a bit for
Right.
it because the energy's gone out of the leaves. But the leaves have done their job.
Yeah, so it's not
It's kind
necessarily,
of just
yeah.
part of the natural cycle. But now you know the berry, if it looks good, you're grand.
Yeah. Another listener asks, why did I not have any flowers on my calla lilies this year? I have had every year since I planted them 5 years ago.
Right. There could be a few things going on there. Calla lilies, very popular plant.
Okay.
So they are. I suppose the obvious thing would be there are certain things like slugs, even some aphids like them. So just check them for any sign of pest disease, anything eating at them.
Mhm.
Because what can happen sometimes is whenever the flower bud comes out, it's almost the softest part of the plant.
Right.
Where it's where the bad guys tend to go for first.
Okay.
If you know what I mean. So just
Yeah.
check it for any sort of signs of nibbling around it and anything else. If it's not that, possibly it's just once again running out of nutrition where it is.
Right, okay.
And the other thing with calla lilies like a lot of light. And so if they said it's flowered for like 5 years, just sort of check that there hasn't like a tree growing in front of it or something to block off some of the light. if you know what I mean. So just sort of, you always have to sort of figure out if it's done well for 5 years and then suddenly it's not. Just has any of the sort of environmental things around it changed?
And in terms of the nutrients that it may need, will it get that from the sunlight, or is there anything
Generally,
else?
it should, all right.
Okay.
It should get, but sometimes just last year was a particularly dull year,
Yeah.
so maybe it didn't get enough sunshine. So the idea would be maybe give it a wee general purpose feed.
Yeah.
At this stage, will help it along too.
And how do you get rid of mare's tail? It is growing on my lawn. What is that?
Mare's tail is a wee sort of, it's a weed. It's pretty much every time I'm on here with Greg, you get asked about it. So it's a wee weed. It's been about since the time of the dinosaurs.
Right.
Nobody in the history of man has got rid of it.
Right.
I don't think they ever will. It's a wee weed, grows up sort of, it can grow in tarmac, can grow in stones.
Right, okay.
And it sort of looks like a fern thing almost, but it's got a very waxy coating on it, which
Okay.
means weed killer won't go into it.
Yeah.
So it can be very hard to get rid of, and it's nature, it breaks off at the ground, so you can't even get out the roots properly.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
if it's growing the lawn, probably a thing would be to crush it a wee bit by stepping on or something like that, and
Right.
then apply weed killer if that's
Then to
what you're
break it up.
thinking. But that's obviously going to kill your lawn too.
Yeah.
A thing about it was generally mare's tails doesn't quite poor ground, so it would be. So sometimes if you actually feed your lawn.
Right.
And improve the drainage a wee bit and give it a feed. The grass sort of can
Oh,
overcome the
yeah.
mare's tail. So that probably would be the most realistic way of dealing with it long term.
Right. And you haven't found a miracle yet for weeds?
No, I'd be a millionaire long ago.
Yeah, I know. Not that I deal with them, but yeah, they just pop up everywhere, and you think
Yes.
it seems to be no time that they're cleared and then they're back again.
Oh,
unfortunately.
absolutely. I know they're very resilient. All right.
Yeah. Anyway. Thanks. That is Paul McLaughlin of Balladare Garden Station, Mountaintop here in Letterkenny. Thank you so much for calling in this morning, Paul.
Thank you.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Má tá tú idir chuig ní agus 7 bliain díos, joigh tú cuireadh scág hástal potoige báilíon HSE siar an aisce íonna. Cabhraíonn an scág hástal le cóirí luadáilte potoige aimsiú, solamíonn aon symptom le feiceáil agus bíonn sin níos fosa í a chóiráil chomhar.
TFI Local Link Donegal Sligo Leitrim operates regular rural bus services in Buncrana, Donegal Town, Muff Moville, Greencastle, Letterkenny, Carndonna, Mallinhead, Ballybuffet and more. For more information visit www.locallinkdsl.ie. TFI Local Link is part of the Transport for Ireland network.
If you're getting new furniture or it's time for a change, pay a visit to McGinley's Furniture in Letterkenny. There you'll find a selection of suites, beds and bedroom furniture, dining room and occasional furniture. You'll be amazed by the selection and pleasantly surprised by the prices. At McGinley's Furniture, Portlink Business Park, Port Road, Letterkenny, and online at mcginleysfurniture.com.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time is now 22 minutes past 11.
Náidé mail nar oin tú de chuire chun scág hástal potoige íonna. Glíorín a hochtteig a náid a caracuig a caracuig a cuig a cuig. No túr cuairt bowlscreen.ie. Own HSE.
Hi, welcome back to the 9 till Noon Show. I'm joined now by Katrina Morrissey, who is the news editor of the Irish Farmers Journal. Good morning, Katrina.
Good morning, Michaela.
So, Katrina, I suppose this is an issue, farm succession, that there has been so much concern about over many years, but the Irish Farmers Journal is starting a series in relation to it. And I suppose there's so much concern that you kind of felt compelled to, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's right. As you say, it's kind of an evergreen topic. It's something that we always write about in the Farmers Journal, but we felt it was worth putting it, a couple of weeks aside to really look at all different angles. A few things prompted that. We're expecting a report from the Department of Agriculture about generational renewal. We're coming towards another budget in October. And obviously we've had those recent CAP, proposals from the European Commission as well. So a lot of things coming together to once again highlight, the problem, which is that we have an ageing population of Irish farmers, and that's not improving. And, to give a kind of an illustration of that, nearly 40% of Irish farmers are aged over 65, and we only have 4% of farmers aged under 35. So it doesn't really speak to an industry that is going to be renewed with a good influx of young, thriving, active farmers coming in. That's not to say they're not there. They are, but it's a very, very slow process, and there's lots of barriers in the way.
And what kind of barriers is it, in terms of the financial aspect of taking on a farm in today's climate, that is the main reason?
Yeah, I suppose the main reason, and 2025 is probably an unusual year to be talking about. Farm incomes are very good this year in the main. I suppose tillage being the only one that might be lagging this year. But in general, farm incomes are very low, and farms don't generate, in most cases, they don't generate enough income to have two generations getting an income from them. So, you often have the younger generation might have to go out and want to actually go and work off the farm for a number of years and come back. But often, and this is some of the problem with succession as well, is often they go off, they get really well educated. We're very good at educating children on farms. And then they go into good, well-paying jobs. They could be teachers, engineers, nurses, any of the kind of office or off-the-farm jobs. And they actually pay better than farming.
And I suppose
so
it's
that
that work-life balance
to a farm
as
then that
well.
won't afford you. Work-life balance is huge. And that in particular as well for dairy farms, I suppose, is the one that you're most tied to. Because of the twice daily milking and the demands, and there are figures there in terms of the number of hours worked on dairy farms being much higher than the other enterprises. And then you have some psychological barriers as well. So we know, and there's been really good research on this in the past by University of Galway, farmers in Ireland very much identify as farmers. They're different to, other jobs. Say, for example, if you're a bus driver and you retire, you don't call yourself a bus driver. But yet farmers identify their occupation as very much their being, their core.
Yeah.
So there is a reluctance to retire as well. So there's lots of barriers. We're going to be looking at them and hopefully some solutions to those barriers. We're doing a 4-week series across all parts of the Farmers Journal. So we've got the main paper, we've got lots of interviews and case studies, we've got financial advice, legal advice inside our Irish Country Living magazine supplement, and we're going to be doing more then online. We're going to be doing some videos, some podcasts. So, we're kind of
Really
leaving no
shining
stone
a light
unturned,
on it,
I don't
yeah.
think, with this series. Yeah.
And in terms of the Commission on Generational Renewal that was set up by former Agriculture Minister Charlie McConloe, do you think in some cases this might be too late for some farmers or some potential farmers?
Yeah, it could be. And I suppose more immediately, is it too late for this year's budget to make any changes as well? As you say, Donegal man Charlie McConloe commissioned this council last year, and they've been looking at all the problems and potential solutions. They're going to report to Martin Hayden. They may well have delivered their report to Martin Hayden in recent weeks. It hasn't been published, so we have no sight of it. The farm organisations and others have, made really good, strong submissions to that, pointing out the flaws with existing schemes and looking for new schemes and, really making kind of proactive suggestions about what could be done to improve the problem. My fear is that if the minister is only getting the report now, how much time does that give him to talk to Pascal Donoghue about potentially funding some new measures, changing tax issues? It's a tight window between here and October. It's not all decided on budget morning. But for farmers then in the kind of medium to longer term, it's never too late to start planning for succession. And it's something that really is the message of an awful lot of people that we've interviewed through this series, and we've talked to loads of experts, and we're supported in this by people who are working on this day to day, the likes of FBD, IFAC, Staines Law, and the Land Mobility Service. All of them would say start planning as soon as you can. Yeah. And that maybe when your children are, when they're very young, or it could be, now is the time to talk to your son or daughter who's working off farm, but you do intend to leave the land to them. And what would they, what's the best solution for your individual farm and your individual family?
And do many young farmers that maybe you've spoken to throughout the course of this, do they feel they have an obligation to take it on, or, you know, they want to take it on, but it's all these obstacles that we've discussed that are just impacting that?
Yeah, lots of young people want to take on farms. The issue is that it does not pay them in many cases. And then there are others who don't want to come do day-to-day farming, but they do recognise that this, you know, is land that might be in their family for generations. So they may not want to do the day-to-day work, but they may want to hold the land. And in some cases, that might be something like they will lease it out. They may go into, either the older or the younger farmer might decide, I'm going to go into, you know, one of these new kind of collaborative arrangements. And we're looking at those in the series. We're looking at things like share farming, which kind of came from New Zealand originally. We're looking at, you know, straightforward leasing, which has been around for a long time. We're looking at partnerships and different types of contract arrangements that might suit, you know, someone. Equally, there are probably younger people who really like their career, let's say, as an engineer, but also love to keep cattle. And, you know, Donegal is a great place for sucklers. It could be that they can marry the two. And there's an awful lot to be said for the lifestyle of a farming family as well, with young kids and stuff. You know, if it was a full-time farm, there's a lot to be said for being able to rear kids in a rural setting and on a farm.
Yeah. And how does the age profile of farming here in Ireland compare to other European countries?
It's not good, but in a European context, it's actually not that different. So the European figures are quite similar. Slightly fewer, 33% of farmers across Europe are aged 65 or over, and 6.5 are aged 35 and under. So we're about 7% fewer farmers are aged over 65 in Europe compared to Ireland. And Europe then has a slightly higher, 2% higher proportion of younger under 35 farms. So it is a problem across Europe. And of course, the Irish figures are feeding into the European average as well. And interestingly, there were figures done recently by the European Commission that said there were 3 million farmers who retired across Europe without someone to replace them. So this is by no means unique to Ireland. Yeah. Huge.
And do you think that something needs to be done now? You know, this needs to be looked at on a long-term basis as well. But what do you think could be done now in the short term?
Well, actually, I was going through the submissions to the Commission for Generational Renewal, and there's some really practical suggestions there from the farm organisations. I'll just focus on one of them. You know, the cost of getting set up as a young farmer. The ICMSA has looked for an increase in the capital investment allowance for young farmers. Because, as you know, if you were to build a farm shed or put in a slatted tank, and a lot, you know, younger farmers are coming on to potentially farms that haven't been invested in for a while, so they need to do more in terms of slurry storage. They may need to do better housing for cattle, for sheep. So that's a practical suggestion, to give them a higher ceiling for investment. And then another one is to extend the young farmer scheme to give them longer than a 5-year limit, so that they can extend that scheme and make it easier for young farmers to get in, because access to finance is a huge problem for young farmers, because they don't have the land in their name necessarily, so they can't borrow against it. So it's very difficult to find the huge sums of money that investment in a farm for the future requires.
Yeah. Katrina Morrissey, news editor with the Irish Farmers Journal. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we will of course be following that series in the Irish Farmers Journal over the coming weeks. And some of the figures that Katrina was talking about there are in today's paper. So just 4.3% of farmers, according to the CSO, are under the age of 35. 11.2% are aged between 35 and 44. 45 to 54-year-olds make up 20.2% of the farming population, and 26.4% of farmers are aged between 55 and 64, and a huge 37.8% are aged over 65. We're going to take another quick break, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Would you like a holiday? How does a new car sound? Or pay off those bills? Well, get ready for Highland Radio's Mega Summer Draw and your chance to win big. We're giving away €2,500 cash every Friday from August 15th to September 5th. And on the 5th of September, one lucky winner will take home a whopping €10,000 live on the 9 till noon show. So that's 5 chances to win big. Tickets are just €15 or get 5 tickets for €50. Head to highlandradio.com and enter our Mega Summer Cash Draw now. Don't miss your chance to make this summer unforgettable. Only with Highland Radio.
Roll on more full trolleys for even less with Lidl Plus. This week, you could spend just €93 on a full trolley worth €123 and save over an incredible €30. Push your savings further with new offers on the Lidl Plus app every week. Scan, pay and save with Lidl Plus. T's and C's apply. See Lidl.ie/Lidl Plus savings.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out shaneconleycars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonaher Road, Donegal Town.
If you're fitting a new kitchen or replacing some tired appliances, now's the time with the Ben Sweeney Euronics Kitchen Bundle. Get a single oven and hob, integrated dishwasher and fridge freezer, wash machine and tumble dryer, all for just €2,000. Other kitchen bundles are available on request. Call us today or visit Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, in the shopping centre, Dunlow.
€75 per cow suckler scheme now open. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, find out what new actions you must take to draw down full payment. Fresh slurry and fertiliser restrictions proposed. Brothers at loggerheads over the family farm. Don't miss our farm succession series with legal, financial and practical advice. We talk to farmers about share farming and leasing. New €4,000 grant for farm partnerships, plus bumper coverage of Tullamore Show. All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
I am joined on the line by Sophie Irwin. Good morning, Sophie.
Good morning. Hi.
So, Sophie, you have a very special appeal this morning relating to a sentimental painting.
Yes, that's right. I'm delighted to get the opportunity to talk about it.
Great. So tell us about this special painting.
Yeah, so my mum was an artist. She was an art teacher for about 35, 40 years. And she passed away in 2018. And we have really treasured all of the paintings, and there weren't many of them because she gave so many of them away.
Yeah.
And there was one in particular that she had painted of Bloody Foreland that was part of her final degree piece. So that would have been back in 1963. And she was originally from Kilmacrennan and moved up to Tyrone and then went to college in Belfast and obviously went back down to Donegal to do quite a bit of painting, and this was her favourite scene, and she decided that was going to be her final piece, and it really was a beautiful painting. I don't know if you've seen it on Facebook.
Yeah, I have a photo of it here. It is gorgeous now. And that was,
and it's quite different.
Yeah, that was, you know, I'm sure she painted so many after that, but that's a stunning photo for, you know, given her age at the time she painted it.
Oh, I know. She would have been 21, and I mean, I think she was commissioned quite a lot after that to go down and paint parts of Donegal for people because her medium was oil, and I think people love an oil painting, don't they?
Yeah.
So anyway, this painting really precious to us because I think we all grew up with it. It hung above my granny and granddad's hearth in their house, so we always were used to seeing it there for about 30 years. And anyway, when my mum suddenly passed away in October 2018, we had a nice celebration because she was a very talented lady. She wrote books and you know, had lots of other pieces that we wanted to show, and this painting was just as you went into the centre, and we put it up on an easel because we thought it really is it is her masterpiece.
Yeah.
And we just have never been able to find it since, and it has really, I mean, we can't work it out because we cleared down the area, and of course there were lots of people helping on that night because there were hundreds of people there, And so we reckon it went into a car, or it went into a cupboard, or it went somewhere, and it has never appeared since. And so we I suppose expected it just to show up. That's 7 years now. We thought, in house moves or looking in attics, or it's going to show up. Someone's got it. One of the family have it somewhere. But I mean, we have searched and searched. So on Sunday, I just stuck it up on Facebook, and thought I'm sure a couple of people might share it. But yeah, I think it's been shared now 6,000 times, over 6,000 times, which is amazing.
Yeah, I know. And it shows you the power of, social media, and hopefully we'll be reaching a wider audience here now as well, that, there might be somebody out there, and as you mentioned, it is a painting of bloody Foreland, and it might have appealed to somebody here in Donegal. They maybe, happened upon it, God knows where, but, they might have it in their possession, unknown to them that, where it came from.
Yeah. Yes. And, I don't think we think that it has, on Facebook people love to put lots of comments on that stuff, but I don't think it has been taken. I think it has just been mislaid. I think it has gone into a car and someone has found it and went, oh, that's interesting, but maybe not my taste, maybe giving it to a charity shop. Who knows? I mean, it could be halfway around the world.
Yeah, and they just don't realise, obviously the sentimental value to yourself about this.
Yeah, and I think for all of us, when someone leaves this world, we're clinging on to the things that matter, aren't we? And I think this has been the picture that we all grew up with and remember as children. And I think it is the picture that we're all so attached to, and we regularly talk about it. And we just keep going through all of the options, and it would mean the world, I think, to get that back. And I mean, we'd have another conversation then about how it travels between our houses, so we all get to see it. But yeah, I think it's very, very precious to us, and we would just love to see it returned if that could ever happen.
And Sophie, just describe it to us again for anybody listening, the picture and the colours in it, and it's signed as well, is it?
Yeah. It's signed, yeah. So it's signed Wilson in the bottom right-hand corner. So that was my mum's maiden name. She was Renee Wilson. Her family were the Wilsons from Kilmacrennan. And she would always have used quite muted colours. So, I mean, it's not a really bright and cheery picture. It's quite muted. It's very Donegal, actually, in terms of the colours and the big burly clouds and the beautiful light coming through. There's a particular part of the painting where there's big streaks of light coming through in the clouds, and I think it just is very particular to Donegal. A couple of mountains in the background and a wee thatched cottage at the front, which I'm guessing is no longer there. So it's also a piece of history.
Yeah.
And it's in a white frame. It would have been framed by my granny and granda, so it won't be anything very fancy or modern. It will be in a fairly plain white frame.
But it's quite a large picture as well.
Yeah, it is quite large. Goodness, I'm not entirely sure, but it's not small. I mean, it would sit above a fireplace and hold its space well. It's not tiny.
And Sophie, if anybody has any information, how can they get in touch with you?
If they phone me, if they contact me on Facebook Messenger, that's where people have been getting in touch with me, sent me messages and sent me other pictures actually that look quite similar to it. So if they want to contact me on Facebook, I'm there as Sophie Irwin, IRWIN. And if someone just wants to drop it somewhere and send me a message and say this is where it is, I would be very happy to go and pick it up, obviously, yes.
Yeah. And anybody listening as well, we have your number here, Sophie. If anybody isn't in social media, they can give us a call here as well, and we'll put them in touch with yourself. And I really hope this does turn up for you, and I'm sure there'll be so many here in Donegal too that will be maybe on the lookout now, and hopefully that is returned to you in the near future.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate coming on here, and if it helps with the search, it'll be absolutely amazing to see it returned. And if anybody wants to see the picture, actually, I have made it. It's a public post on my Facebook.
Okay.
So if you want to go and have a better look at it, it's there.
Perfect. Sophie, we wish you all the best with that.
Well,
And
thank
hopefully
you,
it
Michaela.
is
That's so kind of
returned.
you.
And you might give us an update if, well, hopefully we're hoping that it is returned. So you might get back in touch with us then.
Yeah, absolutely. My goodness, I would be delighted to come and tell you that it's been found and it's hanging somewhere and being appreciated. Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
But thank you. I really appreciate you letting me come on
problem.
and talk about it.
Thank you very much. So that is Sophie Irwin there, and you can check out her Facebook. It's Sophie Irwin, IRWIN, and we have her contact number here as well if you want to give us a call and you have any details about where that beautiful painting might be. A couple of your comments now. Hi Michaela, a couple of months ago, Councillor Michael McBride called on all parades to be banned on Letterkenny Main Street, suggesting the town park as an alternative as they affected traffic flow and local business. Why is he not calling on the parade this Saturday to be rerouted? Not everyone in a wheelchair needs a carer, this listener says. At most concerts, people with mobility issues watch concerts at the front, not the back of the venue. Just to let you know, there is a beat, talk and walk with Angus Kennedy of Nature Northwest taking place on Sunday the 24th of August. That is Water Heritage Day. So you meet at Rathmullen Potting Green at 3 p.m. if you're interested in that. The Palestinian children have a rare hemophilia and have to attend hospital in Dublin every 2 weeks. Living in Donegal will be a nightmare of bus journeys to Dublin for them. They don't want to come here, this listener says. That is in relation to, we have touched on it a couple of times this week, the 6 Palestinian children that are being relocated from Dublin to Letterkenny. Their mothers initially said that they didn't want them to be coming to Letterkenny because they didn't believe that there was adequate care available to them here given their conditions. But the Irish Red Cross has postponed the relocation and they're due to arrive now next week, and the Red Cross has said that they have reassured the parents that they will receive the care they need, and they've also said if they need to attend Dublin that they will facilitate that as well. I was in Rathmullen yesterday and took the ferry over to Buncrana for the day, got back home and was disgusted that the bins were overflowing. It's great to have the good weather and the people out enjoying our beaches, but surely on these days the council should be doing more to ensure the bins are emptied several times a day. Michaela, it concerns me that we are being called a racist country because of a few. The postponement of the Indian festival should not have happened. This is just giving in to the few fools who do more to destroy our country than make it better. Absolutely. A problem we have in Buncrana is people parking on the pedestrian crossing. They are not very visible. There are no lights or nothing. It makes life for disabled people very difficult. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back just after these.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
The hilarious 3 Hail Marys on Grainon Letterkenny, Friday, September 5th and Saturday 6th. Book now on grainon.com.
Shop Homeland's August mega deals at your local Homeland or at homeland.ie. Save 10% off Kaiwaka premium rain gear and Portwest DX4 trousers. Save 10% off all dog leads and collars and save 10% off leader dog food. All this and more until August 21st. Visit homeland.ie. Nationwide delivery available.
It's the 2025 World Chip Sizzle Freestyle Contest, and Charlie's Chips are in the lead again. They're coming up to the finishing pan, and Charlie's Chips are the 2025 World Champions. Sourced locally, hand-cut and freshly cooked. Served with mouth-watering burgers, fresh battered fish or delicious chicken. Open Tuesday to Saturday 12 to 8 and every Friday for breakfast from 9. Take away or sit in. When the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's on Pierce Road, Letterkenny.
The sun is out and summer savings are adding up with Super Value. Pick up 12 bottle boxes like Budweiser and Corona from €14. Treat yourself to a red or white wine, €9 each. Or enjoy our wine of the month, Villa Maria Blush Sauvignon Blanc, only €10, giving you more change in your pocket. Super Value. Real savings, real difference. Please drink responsibly.
By taking the bus, the train, walking or cycling whenever you can, you're playing a part in helping to reduce Ireland's transport emissions. To help you on your way, this year over €1.6 billion is being invested in public transport nationwide and over €1 million a day on our walking and cycling routes. This has helped more people than ever to access more sustainable transport, because wherever you're going, your journey counts. Visit gov.ie/your journey counts. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Get back to school sorted with all the essentials from school jumpers to shoes. Visit our kidswear department in store or shop online at mcelhinneys.com today.
Today's weather, a mix of cloud and sunny spells with scattered showers with some heavy downpours possible. Drier conditions will gradually extend this evening. Highest temperatures of 19 to 24 degrees. Now, have you entered or draw? Our first draw of €2,500 takes place tomorrow. If you buy your ticket now, you have 5 chances to win, with €2,500 being given away every Friday until the 5th of September. You will be entered into all draws and also the big draw to win €10,000. Don't miss your chance to be in the drum for all draws. Call us here now on 074 91 25,000, or you can go on highlandradio.com and get your ticket there. One ticket will cost you €15 and 5 will cost you €50. And remember, if you're not in, you can't win. Joined now on the show by Councillor Jimmy Brogan. Good morning to you, Councillor.
Morning, Michaela. How's it going?
Good, thanks. So unfortunately, we discuss public toilets a lot, and in South Donegal, there has been a bit of an issue in recent days.
Yeah, there's just been an issue with the cleaning or the emptying of the portaloos. Now, listen, this is a problem that happens occasionally, especially when the weather gets good and people visit the beaches and the piers more often, and it's unfortunate that it's happened again, but it's just something that they have to get on top of, to make sure that the people are contracted to clean them out when they should, and more often, and that everybody treats them with a bit of respect, because they're there for everybody to use. The council provide these portaloos for everybody to use, and it's important that people look after them.
And what is the situation in terms of cleaning them? Is it up to local people, as has been claimed the case in some areas, or is their council staff employed to do so?
I've heard the council have contracted somebody, and the contractors are coming in and they're cleaning, servicing the portaloos, So it's just a matter of making sure that the people that are servicing it, that they do it, more often, especially when the weather's good. Because as you know, when the weather's good, more people visit the beaches and piers and stuff. So it's just important that they up a bit whenever people's going to be visiting it more often. There has been a problem too, and now this isn't always the case, but there has been a problem where people in camper vans have emptied their toilet cassettes into public portaloos,
yeah, and they're just not built for that.
No, they're definitely not. Everybody needs to respect, the amenities that's put there by the council. Ideally, you'd want a proper toilet facility in a lot of places, especially the very, very busy places, like Rushnala and different places around the county that are very busy all year round. You'd want a proper public toilets put there, but of course that costs money, but at least there's portaloos put out there for the months in the summer, so it's just important that everybody looks after them, and please make sure they don't do things that's going to cause any problems,
And I suppose you made the point there that the council has staff or people contracted to clean them, but particularly we were talking about, parking along beaches and prohibiting local link services being able to operate that, at busy times like this in the summer months, and particularly when there's a good week like this week forecast, that, more resources could be deployed then.
Yeah, well, that's when you need, these resources. Unfortunately, we don't get the weather for it. These resources aren't needed all year round. But there will be weeks during the summer that the beaches will be very busy because the weather's good. And you see the weather now that we're getting, and all the beaches are very busy, and all public spaces really, because people like to get out, especially because there's still people off on holidays and stuff. And the kids are going back to school next week or the week after, so they want to make the best of it now when the sun is out. So it's just important that there's resources put in place, and that there's sort of a contingency fund there that that these things can happen, because we all know what's going to happen when the more people are out there, the more the service is going to be used, and the more cars going to be parked, and the more everything else. So we just need to make sure there's a contingency there to make sure that when this happens, that the council can deal with it on the spot.
And it's important for visitors, locals using these facilities as well. But for visitors, we want to attract as many people to Donegal, and if they come along and they see the state of these toilets, it's sending out a bad image.
Yeah, it sends out a bad image, and tourism's the lifeblood of the county, so We know how important it is, to give tourists a good impression of the county when they're here. Because at the end of the day, if they're not impressed, they're not going to come back. So we need to make sure that impression is good when they leave happy that they're and tell their friends and tell their families that this is the place to come. So
Yeah.
so it's just as you say, it's very important that they get a good impression of the place and they leave with a good impression of the place. And then they'll come back and their friends and family will come back. And like I say, without the tourists, we wouldn't have very much in some parts of Donegal. So we need the tourism, so we just need to make sure that we're on top of this, all year round, especially then when the weather gets good.
Yeah, and you mentioned there so many resources are put in place by the council, and attending council meetings. So many councillors like yourselves call for these facilities to be put in place. So it is important that they're maintained. Have they been cleaned since, Councillor Brogan?
Well, they have they are an ongoing maintenance. It's just what happens is they when it gets very busy, obviously they should be cleaned more often. And we just have to make sure that's put in place. Now most of them, as far as I know, there hasn't been any. Well, I haven't had any calls lately. So over the last couple of days, it was a problem there for a while, but it seems to have corrected itself now. So the whoever's doing it seems to have got on top of it. But just need to make sure they keep on top of it, and so it's up to the public as well to make sure that these amenities are looked after. And if you see somebody, abusing them, that you call them out, and make sure they don't do it again, because it's up to us as individuals as well as councillors to make sure that these amenities are looked after once they are put in place.
Yeah, and people take responsibility and not to abuse these facilities. Absolutely, Councillor Jimmy.
What happens is if it's not cleaned, it's up to the locals. It falls on locals and stuff to do it, and that's just not fair. That's not the way it should be, So, but like I say, everybody should respect the facilities that's there and make sure they're used properly.
Yeah, and I suppose fair play to those locals that are stepping up to the mark as well, and especially during this current spell of warm weather. You can only imagine, the smell and the scene that they're being met with as well.
Yeah, well, listen, we'd rather not think about it, but at the end of the day, as long as we keep on top of it, there shouldn't be a problem. But and fair play to anybody locals who do step on, to step up to the plate, because sometimes that's what's needed, unfortunately. But it shouldn't really have to be. It should be, the people that are serving them should be a contingency. If they service them every couple of days when they know the weather's good, they should just make sure that they're serviced, daily if needed, or every second day, or whatever's needed. It depends on how busy. Because some places obviously are busier than others, but.
And those that are cleaning the toilets, is there one for a particular area, or do they cover numerous towns and villages?
I'm not 100% sure what wider an area the one group would cover. I'll have to find that out. But I know it has been a problem. It's been a problem year after year after year. So that just needs to be picked up on whatever to make sure it's done properly.
Yeah. Councillor Jimmy Brogan, thank you very much for that. And I suppose again that's another issue that continually raises its head. Another comment: I've asked previously without much luck, which sums up the problem, but does anyone know of an inclusive Gaeltacht which offers alternatives to sports for kids with mild physical disabilities? If anybody has any insight into that, you can get in touch with us here on 074 91 25000. You can text or WhatsApp at 086 60 25000 and email comments at highlandradio.com if you have any further information on that. That's where we have to leave it on the 9 till noon show this morning. Thanks to Carling Orr and to Shannon Wilkin for all their help. The 9 till noon show is back tomorrow morning from 9 o'clock. And don't forget that first draw for the €2,500 as part of the mega summer draw will be taking place tomorrow. So make sure you log on to highlandradio.com to get your tickets, or give us a call here on 074 91 25000. John Breslin is up next on Around the Northwest. Good morning.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny